Whenever
Welcome
you're
back
ready.
to Gabbing the Ghouls, the segment of the podcast where we talk about the movies that we watch between recordings. Jade, edit Emma out of there, please.
Whenever you're ready, Nina.
Nina didn't even
I can't
flinch.
believe you didn't even crack. Yeah,
more
that was
powerful.
crazy.
I'm getting better. Slowly but surely. One of these days,
It's
I'm
like
not
you
even
know
gonna,
I'm
it's
gonna
not even
do
gonna
it.
happen. Yeah, I wonder why that is.
Jamie, is that true? Did we know she was going to do it to him?
Oh my god.
Pull this up.
Anyway, yeah. Do we do intros now or do we do them after we?
We just start
After.
gabbing
Okay,
ghouls.
my
Yeah.
Yeah,
freaking
we raw
bad.
dog the podcast for the first 40 minutes.
Gabbing the
We
ghouls
do
is
our
about
pronouns.
gabbing the ghouls.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
so
audience
Gab-
doesn't get to know who we are until the
We're
actual
gabbing the
episode
ghouls, not
starts.
gabbing the fools.
If you
Hey.
can't handle me
Is this
at my
anything?
ghouls, you don't deserve me at my pronouns.
Real.
I'll go last, so I don't, because I don't have
I'll
that
go
many. Do
first.
any- Okay.
I'm stealing Noah's spot again for the second time.
Damn. Tragic.
So I wasn't
Or is
here last episode, as I'm sure you
Right.
all noticed. And also I was listening to that episode and I was spacing out in like the earlier section of like the actual episode, not the Gabbing the Ghoul segment, but
Mhm.
like I spaced out, I believe, as Noah was doing the like spoilery synopsis. And then I like focused back in when I think both like everybody was like, Noah, you just spoiled like a major part of the movie. And Noah was like, what? No, I didn't. And they're like, yes.
No, that was
They're
the
like, that's
big
not
reveal."
something until everybody finds out until the end of the movie. And I was like, oh, good thing I wasn't paying attention. I should probably stop watching this because I want to watch Saw 2 at some point.
Yeah, Saw 2 has a pretty big twist, a couple pretty big twists. So
Mhm.
Love it.
It's pretty good,
Well, speaking of twists,
all three of us, including Audra, were like, Noah, what the fuck? There's another moment that Noah clued into, like when he was about to send the podcast to Jade, that was Noah saying something and Audra and I both going basically in unison, no.
that's so
I don't
good.
remember what it was, but it
I
was
love
very
that.
funny.
It's when I
Incredible.
said that there should be more Donnie Wahlberg at the Saw
Yes,
movie.
and
Oh,
Nina said, no, there
yeah.
should not be.
Yeah. That's so good. Perfect. Well, speaking of twists, I saw an M. Night Shyamalan movie, maybe you've heard of it, called Trap.
Oh my
What a
God,
twist.
Holy shit.
If you aren't in our Discord, you don't know the hell that I've been putting both Noah and Nina through.
Yeah.
Where
It's been a truly next level sequence of actions that you've been doing.
It's a classic Emma bit.
Yes. So Noah and Nina both love Trap, and I finally watched it and posted in our Discord server like, oh, I finally watched Trap. And I think it was Nina who immediately responded, oh, how did you like it? And I was like, oh, I have some thoughts. Let me hide them behind like spoilers so that I don't like spoil anything for anybody. And I think I wrote, gosh, hopefully I don't have to scroll up too far.
I'm pretty sure you just wrote, hello, you've fallen into my M. Night Shyamalan's trap.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe that's exactly what I did. And it was incredible. But then I've continued to do that. I did that for Heretic because I watched Heretic recently. And I was asked what my thoughts were, and I did that same exact thing. And it's been a hilarious bit. I'm sure we can all agree. But I did eventually break down and give my thoughts on Heretic, but I never talked about my thoughts on Trap. So, Trap was a great time. I had so much fun with it. It oozes like personality and charisma, and just like, especially in the beginning with him interacting with his daughter and like experiencing all this with her. There's just so much like joy, even though there's kind of that underlying like, this guy is a bad dude.
Yeah.
But it's just a blast. A lot of the criticism I see for the movie is for like the second half, and I think get over yourselves a little bit. It's a fun time.
Yeah.
It's a really fun time. And I had a great time with it. and I would recommend people watch it. So I think I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. That's pretty good.
I think that's what I gave it too. I think it's reasonable to say this is not a perfect movie, but I think it's also just
so
exactly
much
what
fun.
It's what I wanted it to
fun.
be.
Yeah.
I can't hate it for that.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, when we sat down again recently and forced Jade at gunpoint to watch it with us,
Surprise! It's one of my ghouls too.
I was curious.
I noticed something new this time, and it's that every camera shot through 99% of the movie is shot from Cooper's head height.
Oh,
like all the
that's
concert footage
interesting.
is just shot from what you'd see. So it's, as far as concert footage goes, a little underwhelming.
But it feels so
but
real
that's-
because of it.
Yeah, because you don't get to see the perfect angles of everything. You're not getting a cool close-up on the singer. You're always seeing whatever he sees.
Yeah.
And that's really neat.
Yeah. Awesome. I had a great time.
Nice.
A movie I forgot to gab last time I was on the podcast. Last time I was here, I was like, I haven't watched any movies, but that was a lie. I had actually watched one. It's called Daddy's Head.
What?
It's not what it sounds like.
Hold on, Chad. I gotta look something up real quick.
It's on Shudder. It's on Shudder. It's on Shudder. I saw a lot of people talking about it on TikTok. People particularly were like, if you don't like Uncanny Valley stuff, this movie will get you.
Oh.
And so I was really curious, and it was on Shudder, so I decided to check it out. And it was solid enough. It didn't really scare me. Kind of the method of Uncanny Valley it used, like, and I don't think Uncanny Valley really bothers me anyway. But the method it used didn't really scare me, but I really enjoyed the concept of the movie. It's about this woman whose husband dies. Like, they haven't been together too long. He had a son from a previous relationship, who's like 7 or 8 or so probably. And now she's left taking care of this kid. And there's this monster that shows up that can mimic things on its face. So it's kind of goes into their home one night, and it sees a picture of the dad, and so it starts mimicking the dad's face and putting on this like voice and calling out to the son and trying to lure him and all of this stuff. And I thought it was interesting. It was pretty well done. I enjoyed it. I think you all would probably get a decent kick out of it. I gave it 3.5 stars, but it was solid, and I wanted to mention it because I forgot about it previously.
That sounds really interesting. I might give that one a shot.
Yeah, I mean, it's on Shudder.
Popping it on
So-
my list.
Why not? You know.
Brian Tellerico liked it.
Oh.
Next up is...
I don't remember how much I respect Brian Tallarico. No offense.
You do.
Mr.
I think you're
Tallarico.
above 50-50 on him.
Okay.
The podcast in general is warm on him, but
Okay.
Yeah. Another 3.5 that I gave out was Woman of the Hour. This was Anna Kendrick's debut directing
Yeah.
role. And it's a Netflix movie. It's about a serial killer in the 70s or maybe early 80s who actually went on one of those like dating shows of like, oh, we're gonna block off like the 3 guys and the girl's gonna ask them questions and then she's gonna pick one to like go on a date with. And the serial killer ended up on one of these shows, and the movie's kind of about that. And the way I kind of want to watch it again now that I think about it, because by the end of the movie I really enjoyed it. But the beginning, the narrative flow that the movie took and the way that it was kind of showing the main narrative alongside a lot of this guy killing people in various instances was a bit disarming. And so I'd actually started it and stopped it maybe about 20 minutes in initially, but then I saw a like an interview with Anna Kendrick, or somebody talking about an interview with Anna Kendrick where she, once the movie turned a profit, she was like, I don't feel like comfortable. I wasn't expecting this movie to make like a huge profit or anything. I don't super feel comfortable like making a lot of money from this when it's about like other people's trauma. And so she donated all of or a lot of the movie's profits to various like nonprofits and things who help people in kind of abusive relationships or families who are going through difficulties with like family members being murdered and all of this stuff. And I was like, that's really awesome. I'm going to give the movie another try. And I really enjoyed it my second time around.
She saw how Blake Lively absolutely fumbled it ends
For
with
real.
us. It was that easy, Blake. Jeez.
Yeah. So there was that movie. Really enjoyed it. I think it's worth a watch for sure. There is a lot of violence against women, though, so be aware of that going in. I saw Smile 2, 4 out of 5. Really enjoyed it. I liked it better than the first one. I thought it was
I've
really
heard that universally.
Been hearing that it's
I
awesome.
have a question then, because you can answer this for me personally.
Yes.
As far as fictional pop stars go, who's better, Lady Raven or Sky Riley?
Sky Riley.
Ooh.
Damn. I'll have to watch Smile 2 because it's like it's been on my list, and all the like stuff I'm seeing from it, it doesn't look like it's doing anything like crazy innovative or anything, but like the premise of it's
Smile
really
too,
fun.
so.
Right.
It's really it's a good time. I legitimately like the music and dance sequences are pretty good, and there's like I have complaints about parts of it, but the first movie felt like throwing so many jump scares at a situation, and it kind of made the plot suffer a bit, where the plot just felt very thin. This time around, it felt like a full cohesive plot, and like the characters were charactering, and I thought it was really solid.
The premise from the trailers just felt so much more interesting as a conversation about mental health, as a premise as far as like something we just don't talk about as much as a society, versus like I feel like the first one felt very like Babadook ripoff.
Yeah.
And then this one it's like, I can see how this would be a very interesting discussion. So
yeah.
Also just more visually interesting to have all of the dance sequences and have a character who is just doing more.
It is pretty good. I had a lot of fun. Me and Piper went and saw it, and as we were sitting in the theater, I found out that Piper hadn't seen the first one. So I was like, let me explain this really fast.
Did it end up
Course
being
and
something
smiling.
where you need to have, like, not need to, because I feel like you can.
You just need to know like the basic concept of the monster, and then you're good.
Yep, cool.
Very Final
okay.
Destination in that way.
Yeah. So then I watched 2 shorts. So you could say I'm basically I went to the Erie Film Festival almost, because I watched 2 shorts.
You
Basically
could call
having a
me a
film
bit of a
fest.
cinephile.
One was like an hour though, and the other one was like 20 or 30 minutes. But the hour-long one, both of them are made by the same people, but you've probably seen these guys. There's this comedy duo on TikTok who makes skits, and they made a long being an hour, short called Milk and Cereal about YouTube pranksters. And it's like horror. And I was seeing a lot of stuff online of people talking about it and being like, this is surprisingly really good and really well done. And so I was like, I got an hour to kill, and I watched it. And I too thought it was really well done and pretty cool. Obviously it's an amateur production and things, and like it shows at times, but I thought it was really solid, and it was wild being like, I've seen these guys do so many comedy bits, and now I see them doing this horror thing, and it makes me happy.
Nice.
But they also did a short. They've done a few shorts, but the other one I watched was called The Chair. It's about a haunted chair. And it was also pretty fun, pretty interesting. I enjoyed it.
Nice.
Then I saw Heretic
Ooh.
the other day, and I loved it. I had a lot of thoughts about the ending that I posted in our Discord, and since it's about the ending, it's spoilers, so I'm not going to repeat them here, but I gave it a 4 out of 5. I thought it had some really fun conversations around religion and doubts and corruption of religion via the means of the people who operate within it, and how it kind of undermines the belief entirety. And I thought it was really cool. I thought it was neat.
Yeah. Jumping off that, also without any spoilers for Heretic, because it is so new and you should check it out. One of the main things I really like about the movie, outside of I just think it's a blast, I do like how the movie does not conclude, and so all religion is bad, point blank period. It's like, I appreciate the fact that it leaves the wiggle room of the fact that, like, the religion itself is not bad. It's the people who misinterpret and abuse the situations.
Yeah, it's very nuanced. I appreciated a lot of things about the movie. They specifically the way that the two main characters talk is very intelligent, and I appreciated, like, with how they're first portrayed and how they develop. I really felt like it was giving them the benefit of a doubt in a really realistic way that I related to those two main characters so hard, because I related to how intelligent they were and how people assume that they haven't thought through their beliefs, but they're able to articulate very well what's going on in their heads. And I was like, I was often mocked in religious scenarios by men for having thought through my ideas. It was very much, we'd be in a Bible study, I would have a theological thought and I would phrase it the way I thought very well. And then most of the men in that scenario would be like, wow, someone has an opinion, and then move on without engaging with me. And there was one man in the entirety of my church experience that seemed to hear anything that I was saying, out of countless men that I engaged with. So it was really nice to see that that's not like a universal thing, that, like, you know, everyone forever is going to bowl over this, like in media specifically, to have it feel like someone heard some woman when she talked once, or that a woman is making herself heard through this movie. So I really appreciated that. Among other things, honestly, just on a premise, it's really fun. I would highly recommend it. If you have religious trauma, as we always say on this podcast with, like, Midnight Mass and stuff, be careful.
No, just do it.
Just do it.
It is mostly focused on Mormonism.
Fuck that trauma. Yeah, if you have Mormon hangups, you know, trigger warning.
I have heard,
Mormonism.
I've seen several Mormons on TikTok, or ex-Mormons mostly, talk about really appreciating the detail put into this, because I believe both of the actresses who play the main characters were raised Mormons.
Oh, shit.
So they have firsthand experience.
For sure at least one of them was.
I was going to make some joke about Hugh Grant wearing magic underwear, but I guess now I won't.
You should not do that. You should watch the movie.
I want to. The trailers make it look real fun.
I do want to shout out literally the very beginning of the movie. I was so caught off guard, because the movie starts with these two Mormon missionaries sitting on a bench talking about Magnum condoms and dicks, and I thought it was incredible.
That was really good.
Art truly does mimic life.
It was such a realistic conversation.
Absolutely.
It was one of those things where it's like, the way that they phrase things and the words that they refused to say were so
so good.
Not a perfect movie, but way better than I expected it to be honest. There were moments where I was like, oh, this is becoming exactly what I expected, and the movie was just like, just kidding, we knew what we were doing there. You fell for our trick.
You fell for our trap.
Much
by
like
M.
you
Night
fell
Shyamalan.
for M. Night Shyamalan's trap.
Okay,
Dang
my
it.
last movie. I talked about this on the Discord very briefly, but it is an anime movie called Look Back. It is an hour long. It's on Prime Video. I highly recommend it to everybody, especially if you like the arts. There is a mangaka named Tatsuki Fujimoto who makes Chainsaw Man, and who has made one other major manga series called Fire Punch, but he is largely considered a genius at writing manga. and he's written 2 short stories, or they're called like one-shots. One of them was called Look Back, and the other one's called Goodbye, Airy. And Look Back is very much, it was inspired by a fire that was started at an animation studio by a disgruntled, I think, ex-employee that killed a bunch of people and shut the animation studio down for a while. And the story itself is about 2 kind of friends growing up and learning how to draw together and like supporting each other and making manga together. And that's about where I'll leave it as a description, but it's truly incredible. I gave it a 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. It made me cry, and it's really, really good. And again, it's only an hour. So check it out.
Hell yeah.
You will not be disappointed.
Okay.
And those are my
I'll
movies.
be the judge of that.
Please watch it. I thought about messaging you and being like, I'm replacing one of the movies on my list that I gave you.
All right, so I'm gonna go next unless Jade wants to cut in.
No, you go ahead. You go right ahead.
All right, so I know lots of people are saying, "Oh my God, Noah's so washed. Noah's not a real cinephile. He's a fake cinema head."
I've been saying that for years.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So I wanted to put those complaints to bed. I sat down and I watched Faust, the silent film from 1926, and
Yeah.
I tell you. It's really good. It's the guy that did Nosferatu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, F.W. Moreau. Marneau. Man, I almost said Marneau. There's just some like insane shots in this. Mephistopheles is tempting Faust, and there's, as he's like saying, "Oh, you know, all the good things you could do with my power," it cuts to these hands reaching up out of the fog, like, oh, begging for Faust to help, kind of thing. It's just like 10 arms reaching up out of this cloud of smoke, and it's so that
sounds kind of sick.
That one sat with me really fucking heavy. The first half of this movie, because it's long too. How long is this thing? Especially for like a silent film, it's 106 minutes. It's as long as the movie we are talking about today on the podcast.
Yeah.
And its credits are shorter, which means that the movie's longer.
Jeez.
But it's the first half is some of the most gorgeous stuff you've ever seen in your life. And then the second half is good. It's just the Faust story at that point. Like, oh, you made your Faustian deal. What does that mean? You'll understand later, you know. But it's
no, wait, why'd you name that concept after me? I don't like that.
Don't worry about it. But I was really into it, and I'm like, well, when I went to go look this up, when you type Faust into Letterboxd, obviously this is the first Faust that comes up, but there's a couple other ones too. And I'm like, oh, a Faust from 1994, and there's this sick-ass wooden devil head on the cover? This is cool as hell. I'd love to know what's up with this. Turns out, this is a Czech film, which is a version of Faust, and it is also really, really good. It does not feel like it was made in the 90s. It feels like an 80s or 70s movie, for sure. But there's this really, really compelling blend of human-sized puppets, like marionette string puppets, and there's also claymation and stop motion, and it's really, really good. I really recommend checking that one out.
I'll just wait for the Robert Eggers remake. Fuck, that joke was gonna be so good if I did it all in one go.
That was.
Shit. I'm upset.
I'll just wait for the Robert Eggers remake. So true.
So funny. Oh my gosh, I nailed it.
But yeah, I don't think either of these are going to be much for most everyone here. I know Nina has not enjoyed my foray into ancient cinema.
I don't care. I don't have a strong opinion on this.
No, that's what I mean, though. Nina is not interested in this shit at all compared to how I am.
That's not true. I've gone to see the Nosferatu twice.
That doesn't count.
I've seen Nosferatu twice. I watched half of the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, but I had places to be that day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
in the
uninterested
and then we watched Vampire, and you're like, I just do not care for this.
I did not care for Vampire. That does not mean I'm not into potentially like silent film as a genre. Okay.
These are mostly Jade Rex. That being said, because Nina decided to hijack my section here. Defending herself? Oh, blah, blah, blah. But no, Faust, Jade, I think you would like both of them.
Yeah.
And the one from 26 is on YouTube, so.
That's accessible.
Let's see. I also watched Heretic, but I already talked about that. Mm-hmm. The main thing I want to get in here is I watched some of the movies on the list of movies to make Noah watch.
Yeah, which ones?
Can I ask really quick?
Mm-hmm. Of course.
You had mentioned in the Discord, you were like, hey, everybody, sorry, not going to be able to do the community list for November. Why is that?
Because I do not have time.
Oh.
I came in November having to start this list 5 days into the month.
Also,
The Noah that we had back in March wouldn't have batted an eye at that.
Noah took up a new obligation for the next couple of months that is one that I would have been mad at him if he didn't take. That is just more social. It just takes a lot of us being out of the house.
Yeah.
That's cool, though.
It's the only downside is that I am unfortunately a little committed at the moment. I mean, if you're on my fucking Blue Sky, you can see it. I got temporary band gig, and I'm really excited about it. And I'm having a good time. I didn't know that.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So,
and it's one of like the bands that we have been loyal groupies of for like the past year and a half or more.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a big deal to us and no one else.
Exactly. So I am committing a lot of my free time to practicing songs. And I don't want to watch movies during that because I don't think that's respect to the songs or the movies. But that being said, I'm going to finish this list by the end of the year. And I have also decided I will not be doing this again next year. And by this, I mean having people assign me movies that I have a time limit to finish because that is killing my vibe. I'm so sorry, everyone. It's the Noah puts off watching movies his friends tell him to watch for years bug, except now I have to watch
It's
them.
Accelerated to a million.
And I'm looking at all these movies and I'm like, I don't want to watch any of this fucking shit.
Look, so you guys
There's
remember...
too much shit on me. I don't want to be here.
You guys remember how Noah... Not made me, but Noah's family references the Music Man a lot. Noah references the Music Man a lot. Like first date reference.
Now our
Music Man
comments are going to be all full of Music Man hate again. Fuck.
But part of the deal.
Show up if you hate the Music Man.
Part of the deal for watching Music Man on my end that I don't think anyone was 100% aware they were agreeing to was that I was going to make Noah watch Pete's Dragon, the 1977 Disney musical.
Incredible.
Because this is Nina's Music Man, except the Music Man is a good movie, and apparently Pete's Dragon.
Pete's
is
Dragon
not.
is
massive disclaimer. We're aware that an awful lot of people don't think the Music Man is a good movie.
I would say that Pete's Dragon is just about the same quality as Music Man, which is to say, if you didn't grow up with it, potentially you're not going to like it because there are some really slow moments. It's a 70s kids movie, but I will say the main thing about Pete's Dragon that I'm really excited. This is not necessarily a spoiler, it's the selling point of the movie, is that this is, I think, one of the first movies to integrate 2D and live action.
Now, we're going to stop talking about Pete's Dragon because I have not watched it yet.
No, we're going to watch it on Sunday of this week.
But this is why it's taking me forever to watch all the movie recs. I'll watch them by the end of the year. I will.
Dragging his feet, get it?
I am... Shut the fuck up. Talking for like a minute and a half about a movie we haven't watched yet. Listen, all right. Jamie, cut that out.
All right, so let's talk about movies you have watched, though, because you did message me the
I
other
have
day
watched
about watching Knife and Heart.
4 movies from this list, which is huge, I might add. Not a huge list, but huge that I watched 4.
Yeah.
1, House of the Devil.
Hell yeah.
I think I'll I think I'm gonna like it more on the second watch.
Oh, sure.
Because I worry I wasn't dialed in enough. Because it is the more of Ty West shit I see, the more I realize this is a guy who, and I mean this respectfully, has no unique visual style of his own because he is so dialed in to capturing the essence of what other people have done and making that his.
A little Tarantino in that way, you might say.
Yes, actually, unironically,
he's looking at different stuff, but he's doing the same shit with it that Tarantino does with his stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, because House of the Devil reeks of a 70s, 80s satanic panic horror thriller.
Big time.
Like, right down to the fact that he has a microphone at the camera at this end of the hallway and a door opens quiet as fuck and she walks all the way down that hallway slowly getting louder. There's details work in this that, like, why would someone do it, you know? And it's cool. That being said, as the movie ended, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this movie. I need to, so I'm going to revisit it again next year.
Okay.
Give it a little bit of space, not watch it right before work, you know, that kind of stuff.
Sure, yeah. It's not a movie to watch when you're in a hurry.
No.
I imagine Jade recommended that one to you.
I fucking love this movie.
I have watched 2 Jade picks, a Sean pick, and an Emma pick.
Nice.
The next one I watched was Knife Heart, which I did not register how giallo it was.
How?
I mean, I did. Okay, no. I knew how giallo it was. That's
everyone who hasn't seen Knife and Heart. This movie is so Argento pilled. Oh my god.
I love Argentina.
So true. I liked Knife and Heart. I thought it was really good. I'm rolling on from the Argentina thing.
My favorite Argentinian movie that I've ever seen is probably Suspiria.
The fact that first we had the stupid fucking dragon thing and now Emma's about to, like, cry. We're on a roll. I'm waiting for Noah to have one, and then we're gonna all be expected to laugh at that, but he's fed up with us.
So you didn't realize how giallo-pilled...
I didn't realize how truly giallo-pilled it was until I watched the first 30 minutes of opera. I have not managed to finish it yet, my bad.
Yeah.
I will return to it. But it's like, there's just some stuff that happens in it
Very similar
that in
plots.
my mind, I was swapping elements of the two movies with each other. And I'm like, no. That's from Knife Heart.
Yeah, the flow of the two, the way that their plots are extremely, extremely similar.
And it's really cool.
Opera's
I
one
like
of my favorites
how
from Argento as well. God. Oh.
I'm excited to get back into that. I also really enjoyed Knife Heart. Good times.
Hell yeah.
Sorry, Sean, I didn't like Clerks. Moving on. Memories of Murder. We've already talked about it in the chat. It's my most annoying coworkers quote this movie, and I didn't know they were quoting this movie.
Wait, are you talking about Clerks or Memories of Murder?
I'm talking about Clerks.
Okay.
I didn't know they were quoting Clerks. Memories of Murder, though, I really, 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 really liked.
Let's go.
This is going to be another one that I have to watch. Again, not because I didn't get it, but because I want to. I just had a blast with this thing. Bong Joon-ho is a really good storyteller.
Oh shit, it's one of his.
Yeah, it's one of his earlier ones.
No, this is the wrong guy. Where's my fellow? Song Kang-ho.
Oh, hell
That's
yeah.
him. The bitch from Parasite. He's in this one too, and he is a fucking shitty detective, man.
Yes, he was born for that shit.
This thing, I tell you, this movie balances the fact that it is about, frankly, very upsetting topics. It balances it so well by just being, like, a little goofy. Like, he's in there and he's like, listen, man, I'm a good cop. He's a good cop. We don't want to have anything happen to you. You got to tell us. That literally, like, extorting, like, confessions out of these people so that they can close cases. But it's not the actual people that they need to be getting confessions from because they're so sure they got the right guy. But he'll like, the guy's not giving him anything and he'll be like, well, you know, and as he stands up and turns away, his partner comes in with a flying drop kick from off screen to deck the suspect. This happens like 5 times. It is funny every single time. That balances really, really well with the other content of the movie to keep it from getting too heavy at any points. And then the movie ends with your whole soul being left in the fucking dirt. You feel so empty at the end of it.
Damn.
And it's wonderful.
It's really, really good.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Listen, no, I'm telling you, I only gave you winners. I didn't give you any movies
I really think Grave of the Fireflies is the one that he's sticking on. The fact that you threw that one in here is really upsetting him.
It's frankly, it's the only one that I knew what it was when you gave. Well, no, I know about Your Name because Jackson wanted me to watch that with him, and that's what I'll probably do.
Oh,
No.
Perfect Blue's got a great it's a really
It's
good
got a
one.
fantastic
Whatever.
reputation. I've been
I
meaning to
know
watch it for a
what
while.
Grave of the Fireflies is about. And I'm just like, why would Emma make me watch this movie in like a twisting your arm way? This is a terrible way for me to experience this.
Listen, you
So
can
we'll see
replace
what
it with
happens.
Look Back if you want. I'm willing to do
Emma's
that
just
for
like,
you.
you will cry during this list. It's gonna happen.
I
Your name
know.
is gonna make him cry.
I'm sure it is. But I'm going to watch it with Jackson, so it'll be fine.
You're gonna watch it with Jackson. You're gonna watch it with
Nina.
me. You're not watching this movie not with me. That is just a fact.
My first time watching it was with Nina. Fun fact.
Yeah,
Aw.
it was in the theaters
Yeah.
in its limited theater run.
Wow.
I almost watched it with Jackson back at my old apartment before Nina and I were dating.
Wow.
Hey, let's
And
go.
wouldn't that have been crazy for reasons?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway, big shout out today. I crossed the 400 film threshold.
Let's go.
If we're counting rewatches within the year, I had already crossed it at Saw 2. That was the 400th logged movie. But the 400th unique movie, 1993 Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes.
Let's go. Nice. I
not
heard
gonna
you
talk
see
about
his
it too
entire
much.
taint and balls.
I have also
You
heard
do!
this.
You
wait,
do!
Wesley Snipes?
No!
Oh.
No, you see Stallone.
I'm far less interested in Stallone.
You've seen it like
said that
a
Stallone
couple
did
times.
actual porn early in his career. Is that true?
I don't
anyone
know.
Why would Noah know
People
that?
say it about a lot of actors who are like
See,
macho men
This is why I've
types,
always
you
doubted
know?
it, but every time I vocally doubt it, someone's like, "Well, no, I've actually seen it," and I'm like, "Well, why would you say that?
Why would you?
Oh, you know what? I think I have too, actually. I think I looked it up because I didn't believe it.
Yeah?
This is something that sounds right to me.
I would simply believe it and not look it up.
Well, no, it's
Yeah.
like when
I
what's
disbelieve it and don't look it up.
Vin Diesel. People are like, "Oh, Vin Diesel did gay porn,"
That's
and there's
not
no proof
true.
of that. That is not true, but it's a very widespread thing.
He was a
for
breakdancer
some
in the
reason.
90s. That's true.
He was a breakdancer.
You can find the videos.
And can we just agree that's so much worse than gay porn?
Honestly, I wish
I
he
had a thought just now about when I think of Demolition Man and I think of Wesley Snipes and I think of Blade. It occurred to me that perhaps Kid Cudi would be a better Blade than
Kid Cudi would be a
Ali.
great Blade.
Kid Cudi would be a great Blade is the thought that I just had.
Mhm.
If it's ever made.
Not a better Blade, but a really good one, a different kind of one. And I would love to. And now I'm like, oh, who do I write to make that happen?
Kid Cudi, probably.
Kid Cudi, he would totally. I wonder if, hey man,
You should be Blade, anyways.
I don't know if you've ever thought of this, but you should be
Love
Blade.
Dex,
I will donate to you all of my money. It is $10.
But also, I gotta say, in Demolition Man, Wesley Snipes is younger than I am now, and this man is acting with such a feverish energy. Like, he owns that
Man's
movie.
got an
Stallone's
unreasonable
there,
amount of
but
swag
Wesley
in like
Snipes
everything he's
owns
ever
the
been
movie.
in.
Oh yeah. Which made me come up with this wonderful example explaining how I feel about things. It is the no yes meme, you know, which is horror movies where the whole concept is wouldn't it be crazy if versus cocaine action movies where it's like wouldn't it be crazy
That's,
if
I think,
love those.
that's the moral that we have to have taken away from watching Running Man and
Yeah.
Total Recall and everything.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Cocaine era action movies kick ass because they're action movies. Their plot can be a little bit strung together.
They're supposed to just
We're
be
here to
out
watch
there, yeah.
oiled up guys, you know?
Hey,
Looking
yo.
for beefcakes.
Actually, I don't think anyone's oiled up in Demolition Man, so I want to roll
Probably
that
not.
one back slightly.
Well, then what are we watching for? God.
Wesley Snipes, we've been through
Oh,
this.
right.
Anyway,
anything else?
nothing I can talk about right now because
Okay.
we're going to talk about it live.
We'll do it
No,
live.
yeah, that's it.
Fuck it.
We'll do it live.
Jade, what did you watch?
So I have got a solid handful of ghouls, and I actually, whilst listening to all of your other ghouls, Emma, you mentioning some of the shorter stuff that you were watching reminded me of another ghoul that I had forgotten to log. And that was one that I've actually talked about before. It's Luz. I watched it originally on Noah's recommendation. It's about an hour and 10. I think it's like 70 minutes long. Directed by Tillman Singer. It is good as hell. I like it a lot. I enjoyed it even more this time than I did last time. Fantastic. I mentioned in the Discord already, I watched Starship Troopers.
Let's go.
Loved it. Super fun. Made me play Helldivers afterward. Did I mention, on the Saw 2 episode, did I mention watching the last Twilight movie?
No.
Okay, well, me and Becca watched the Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 2. Which is finally capping off our 2-year-long quest to watch all the Twilight movies. It took us this long because we just could not drag ourselves through it at a reasonable pace. The movies are so goddamn hard to watch. Oh my god, they're so bad. Fun to laugh at. Non-horror, because obviously Twilight is horror, but non-horror.
Of course.
We watched this movie called Logan Lucky from 2017.
I watched Logan Lucky. Yeah.
That shit's
That's
fun
a great
as hell.
one.
I
It
liked
was
it
really
a
fun.
lot. I'm discovering that I
I
just
remember
really enjoy...
fuck all about it, but I remember it was fun.
Right. Adam Driver is goddamn hilarious when he's able to just fuck around. I love
Have you
Channing
seen
Tatum as just
some of his
dude.
SNL skits?
No, I never watched SNL ever.
Adam Driver. Here's the thing, right? Adam Driver, Channing Tatum, and Daniel Craig are all three men who are at their best when they're just fucking off, and that is what this entire movie is.
I love seeing Channing Tatum as I don't know, just some dude, I guess, because the moment he grows a beard, he's just some dude. I feel like I could just walk into a gas station and see him standing there, and I wouldn't notice.
Yeah. He's just very everyman looking.
He and his actual performance in the movie is great. It's fun as hell. Love it. So trying to decide what order I want to do these last two in. Okay, so I watched Maxine finally. Speaking of Ty West from earlier.
Okay.
I was a little unsure of it at first, especially certain aspects of the later parts being the way that they are, but the more that I have sat with it, I have liked it more. I feel like it is very much just doing for Maxine what Pearl did for Pearl, and that means that it's not going to be a perfect story or anything, right? But it is very into the character in exactly the way that I think it ought to be. And I feel like well, I mean, kind of like Noah was saying about House of the Devil, actually. I feel like I'm going to like it more on a second watch, probably, but it's not as though I disliked it this time. Very good time. Really enjoyed it.
I still haven't watched it.
I got a
and
question
want
about
to.
it, though. There is one of the most Noah core characters that has ever been put to screen in this movie.
I noticed him.
Okay.
Yeah.
The minute that man hit the screen, I'm like, oh, who is this interesting fellow?
I can see that.
He's through the whole thing, and then the credits roll, and I'm like, Kevin Bacon?
Right.
That was another one of those times where I realized I can't tell Kevin Bacon and Ethan Hawke apart. It happens every now and again.
This is my problem. Also.
If you were ever to say that to my face outside of this moment, I would be like, Nina can't tell what two very distinct people look like. Nah, this looks like
guys
Ethan
up
Hawke.
the same, they could be each other.
I want to say one thing about the topic of Noah core characters. There was a Cinemark Movie Pass commercial that played that was a Godfather parody.
No.
And I was shoving Noah and pointing at the screen the whole time because I was like, man, it's too bad they already gotcha because this would have hooked you right in.
Yeah.
Nice. That particular character in Maxine, though, actually his last scene in the movie has some of my favorite moments from Maxine as a character. Still love her. Gosh, Mia Goth keeps not disappointing us, and I'm gonna be really, really disappointed when she finally does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so this leads us to my final ghoul for today.
That sounds bad.
Is it Trap? Because you didn't talk about Trap.
Oh yeah, that's right. I didn't talk about Trap. Sorry. I love Trap. It was great.
Yay!
The real final.
Now back to
ghoul.
Dower.
So I watched this movie called Tokyo Gore Police. It's from 2008. If you like stupid splatter shit, you like katana kills with blood geysers, you like guys with guns on their heads, you like guys with chainsaw hands, you like did I mention the katanas and blood geysers? There's a lot of blood geysers.
Yeah, I've read Chainsaw Man, okay?
No, you
Only
haven't.
one chainsaw guy in
Read the
this,
first
though.
one.
Damn.
It's
What a disappointment.
I don't know, it's got a certain amount of like 80s style Cronenberg body horror kind of stuff going on, but it's all in service of being a splatter movie. So yeah, if you like splatter movie shit that kind of doesn't really go anywhere, like plot or meaning or statement wise, then like I'm not exactly like recommending it, but it was fun.
There you go.
Yeah.
And Nina.
I have one ghoul to gab.
Damn.
It's Scream 3.
Yeah.
I finally made good on what I lied about last week. And I watched it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fine. It was not as bad as I expected it to be. It really, to me, drives home that what's bad for a good franchise is better than what's good for a bad franchise. Because some of the, like, again, I am a Friday the 13th hater, and we know this.
Yeah.
Some of the, like, good Friday movies, I'm like, yeah, this is bordering on something that, like, I'm actually enjoying. But, like, even the Screams that are starting to get into the ones that people called the bad Scream movies, I'm like, I'm still having fun. I'm happy to be around these characters. If Dewey and Gale are on screen, I genuinely don't give much of a shit as to like whether or not the plot is strengthening the overall lore or if Ghostface fucking his fucking motive makes sense, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's kind of the weakness of a Friday the 13th movie relative to a Scream series, right? Is the lack of continuous characters to get attached to, people to care about.
Yeah.
We're here for Jason,
But-
for better or
Yeah,
worse.
Here's the
characters
thing,
show
like,
up so he
Hellraiser
can
doesn't
kill them,
have-
that's it.
Hellraiser doesn't have any carryover characters other than Pinhead sometimes, but the concept of the Cenobites and of the, like, lament configuration and everything is largely enough to keep me interested in even the shitty sequels. So, you know, I think it just, you gotta have one or the other, and I don't feel that Friday really has either, because it's guy with machete, and characters that generally aren't very likable or compelling for the most part. So apart from the kills, that's all that Friday has for me. And then Scream, typically the weakest part is the kills, but I'm there for specifically Gale and Dewey at this point.
Love it. I think.
So yeah, that's it. I didn't watch anything else.
Yeah, I think your comment of like, even with a bad Scream, I'm still having a fun time really resonates, because I think 3 was my least favorite.
It's most
I
people's
think
least favorite.
But even like thinking back
The
on
worst.
it, I was like, it was still fun.
Yeah.
As far as
As opposed
the
to,
worst entry
as you
goes,
mentioned, Friday the 13th,
Right.
which I also hate.
Yeah. No. I thought that the whole trying to retcon lore from the first one, I never like it when movies do that.
it doesn't matter that they're doing it ironically, it's still kind of annoying.
Yeah, I know that that's like the commentary they're making, but they do it in such a way that I can't even go hee hee ha ha. I'm like, all right, whatever. I am ignoring that. That did not happen to me. Only one person can pull off the long lost brother. It's Alex Hirsch. That's it.
Whoa, who was the long lost brother in the Alex Hirsch show?
It's been like 10 years.
His name is Dipper,
right?
and he's there the whole goddamn time. He never even goes anywhere.
You got me there.
Fake
Lazy
fans
ass,
just
so true.
forgetting about Dipper.
Fade out on fake fans fans forget about Dipper.
Fake fans forget about
Fake
Dipper.
fans forget about Dipper.
Fake fans forget about Dipper.
Many people are saying this.
Many people are saying
Many
this.
people are saying this.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Casual Obsession, the horror movie podcast where we talk about horror movies. I am one of your hosts. My name is Nina. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm here today with Noah.
Hello, I'm Noah. He, they pronouns. Noah. Noah. Noah.
And hello, I'm Jade. They, she pronouns. Jade. Jade.
I didn't even start this
Shop
one.
smart.
Hey everybody,
Smart.
it's me, Emma. I use they, them pronouns, and my name is spelled FQRS.
That sounds right, yeah.
They're silent
I-
letters.
Of course.
Just imagine a little like loading screen came on over my face for a second there. 'Cause
We could see.
Today we are talking about 10 Cloverfield Lane, a movie that came out in 2016, which I saw this one in theaters. I don't know how many of the other hosts did.
None.
I did not.
Is it just
I
me?
did not.
Me,
Yeah.
someone who
I
in
caught it on
2018,
Blu-ray after.
in my introduction to Noah in 2018, told him I was not a fan of horror. I did see this one in theaters.
The
I
more
also
we
saw-
learn about your history with horror, you were really just full of shit when you said that, huh?
No, I wasn't full of shit. I was misinformed as to what horror
is.
as a genre was.
I keep encountering
Full of
people like
shit.
this,
Yeah.
and it's so frustrating where people will be like, I don't like horror. And I'm like, oh, I could probably recommend some things. I'm like, what things do you not like about horror? And they're like, I don't like jump scares. And like, they'll name a couple things. And I'm like, oh, you can watch Train to Busan. That's a really great zombie movie. You can watch these other things. And they're like, zombies don't count as horror.
Oh,
I'm like,
come on.
yes, they do.
Come
It
on.
always
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
me laugh. The people that are like, I don't like XYZ, so then they make up reasons why the thing that you're trying to tell them is horror is not, is
Yeah.
always funny.
I wasn't quite
Yeah.
that bad, but I did watch The Visit. So I watched 2 Shyamalan movies in theaters is what happened. I watched The Visit and I watched Split, and I liked Split and didn't like The Visit. And then I watched Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies, which I don't know if I'd classify that one as horror. It is zombies, but it is like
It's sort of a zomcom.
Zombies are horror, Nina.
Zombies
A
are
zomcom.
horror, Nina.
a rom-com, because there is romance in it.
rom-
Rom-zomcom
rom-com.
is actually the term.
Rom-zom-com.
Oh my god, I love that guy. Living Dead Girl. Yeah.
Anyway, the point being, I did really enjoy this one when I saw it in theaters. But the movie itself is a sequel to Cloverfield, kind of, in that it shares the word Cloverfield being in the title.
J.J. Abrams, in the planning process, said that he wanted this movie to be a, quote, blood relative, end quote, of Cloverfield, but not a sequel per se.
I can see that. It feels, yeah, it shares some DNA, yeah, you could say. But it's very, very different. For one thing, it's not found footage. And for another thing, it is very plot-wise, very like secluded. It's a single location movie.
Mhm.
And the movie, to kind of get into it, follows Michelle, played by gosh, I love her so much. Why am I
Mary
forgetting
Mary
her
Elizabeth
name?
Winstead.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead, my beloved.
Who is a heavily clocking in actor in this year's movie rotation for me for some reason.
Because
Not
she was
intentional,
in
but
Abraham
she's just
Lincoln
been-
Vampire Hunter.
She's been in like 8 movies I've watched this year. She's doing the work.
Yeah. She also, I didn't recognize her when I first saw this movie. I don't really know why. But yeah, so it follows Michelle, who is just getting out of a bad breakup with her fiance. I don't know that we ever find out why.
Well, she's not even getting
and
out of it. She's getting into the breakup, actually, as the movie
Yeah,
kicks
yeah.
off.
She is in the process of leaving her fiance and her home and getting out. When she is T-boned on a dark road and wakes up chained to a pipe in a kind of dank dungeony room, and told that the world has ended and she is only being held captive because it's the only way to keep her alive. And shit unfolds from there.
Yeah.
Now, I know I had never seen this movie before, and I have not seen original Cloverfield. Am I the only one on this podcast that hasn't seen original Cloverfield? Or that hasn't seen
I haven't
this
seen
one
the whole
before?
thing. I have seen parts of
not.
it.
Okay.
I'm the only one that's seen all of it?
Wow.
That's insane.
Okay, now
I've seen a lot of it, but I haven't actually seen the whole thing.
Now
all in
hold
all
on
in a row.
though. Who here has
Okay.
seen the Cloverfield Paradox? Because that was the
I
first
have
not.
Cloverfield movie that I watched.
I have seen a lot
That
of
sucks.
I've seen a lot of YouTube reviewers talk about how shit it was, but I've never watched
Yeah.
it.
I watched it having never seen a Cloverfield movie before, but having the information that there is not a continuous plot line through all the Cloverfield movies.
And then you watch the one that
Correct.
makes a continuous
And-
plot line.
Uh-huh. And I spent the whole time being like, damn, this kind of sucks.
If it makes you feel better, everyone who had seen the other movies seems to agree with
Having Roy from
I-
the IT crowd really didn't help it either.
you. R.I.P. Roy.
Anyway,
dead?
Noah, as far as this movie goes, what did people
I'm so
think
glad I have a chance to talk. Oh my god, it's been so long. I haven't talked at all this
Noah
episode.
has
Holy
been silenced
shit.
on this podcast for too long.
We got the critics, baby.
Here he fucking
Whole
goes.
bunch of shit. IMDb 7.2, Rotten Tomatoes 91%, Metacritic 76%, Letterboxd 3.6. We're doing the
These
sweep.
are some
This is so
numbers.
much better regarded than Saw 2, RIP.
Yeah.
But we got an Ebert,
Whoa.
as I'm sure no one should be surprised, and we
Ebert?
have a tickling of a Brandon. No,
Whoa.
not a real Ebert.
Oh.
It's Brian
It's
Tellerico.
Brian Tellerico.
Hey.
That's why he
Hey,
was
we
on the
know
brain
him.
anyway. All right, so we should have put this in the front of the episode, but it's also, this is an 8-year-old movie. You probably know about it by now. But Brian opens up with a 3-sentence thing talking about how this was a stealth production movie that no one knew about until the trailers dropped. And that the less you know about this film, the better before going into it. Please leave right now and go watch it if you haven't heard anything about it. It's very important to watch this as blind as possible.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, 10 Cloverfield Lane is a tight, tense thriller carried by excellent performances from John Goodman and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. It has echoes of Alfred Hitchcock and H.G. Wells embedded in a cat and mouse game after the end of the world. Without directly acknowledging in a traditional blockbuster way, it's a sequel to 2008's Cloverfield. Dan Trachtenberg's film feels much more old-fashioned in its style, recalling genre pictures of the 50s and 60s. There's a sense of unease, that sense of unease is certainly there in the script, and Trachtenberg deserves credit as well, but it's John Goodman's performance that makes your skin crawl. He captures a man on the edge of sanity for whom control is key. He's not an obvious maniac, as some other actors would have played the role, but someone who honestly thinks he's a savior, and thinking that plays into his God control, or his control freak God complex. Goodman keeps us guessing, allowing glimpses of the possibly kind man that Howard used to be before all this happened, but even shading those in a sense of conditionality. Howard reminds Michelle and Emmett that he's saved them so much that we start to wonder what he's going to expect in return. In terms of performance, the underrated Winstead matches Goodman in every way. This is an actress who only gets a small portion of the attention she deserves. She carries 10 Cloverfield Lane, conveying Michelle's conflicting feelings about her predicament and staying so completely in the moment that the tension remains. We only know what she knows, so she has to be our conduit to the film, responding to each new hurdle and conflict as we would. There was something in there about how the last 20 minutes of the movie are going to be the only thing anyone talks about because it's a big upset to how the rest of the movie goes.
It certainly is.
But I decided not to include that because I don't think it's relevant to how I want to frame it.
Well, and it's certainly
there.
too early to be saying things like that.
Exactly.
We're not in the spoiler
Now,
zone yet.
I got a Twitter Brandon.
got a Twitter
Now, he
Brandon.
hasn't logged the movie. He hasn't dropped a review for the movie. However, in the trailer announcement for Prey, Brandon's making a thread about how excited he is for a new Predator movie that looks good. And
That's what Prey was.
the third tweet in the chain is, somehow only just finding out it's Dan Trachtenberg too. 10 Cloverfield Lane is such a barn burner. Wow, I couldn't be more excited about Prey. But he likes 10 Cloverfield Lane. He considers it, as many people do, the best of the Cloverfield movies, and that it's really something else. So that's what we got.
Yeah, I'm gonna invoke host privilege to go first this time, I think.
Ooh.
I again saw this one in theaters. I really liked it. Coming back to it again, first of all, I have watched a lot more horror movies since I initially watched 10 Cloverfield Lane. And I also am a different person, and I also have seen 10 Cloverfield Lane before and knew what was coming this time. And one thing that I was wondering is if I would be as tense and uncomfortable the second time through as I was the first. And let me tell you, I was. It like I didn't know until John Goodman walked into the room, and it was immediate. It was like a physical response. I was like, fuck, we really are doing this again. So genuinely still love it. I don't think that it's perfect. I really think that last 20 minutes, not that I wished it didn't exist or that it did anything super differently. I just don't love it. And there are other parts about the main movie itself that I'm like, But overall, really solid. I think it's a 7 out of 10. I'm comfortable with that. I think that there are just movies that are better or worse out there. But it does everything it wants to do pretty fucking well.
It's valid.
Yeah.
I'll go next. I'm right here. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. I love this movie. I love John Goodman, especially when I watched this movie. My primary knowledge of John Goodman was Sully Monsters Inc. So seeing a guy and he also plays that type of role in a lot of things where he's a bit of
he's lovable,
bit of a teddy bear kind of fellow,
and
to the point where it plays. Sorry, go ahead.
Nah, you go.
Okay, I was gonna say to the point where it plays into when he doesn't play that role, that expectation, like in this movie, or I would say in or Brother Where Art Thou, or with The Big Lebowski. Yeah. It's like the fact that you look at him and think, oh, big teddy bear, is directly why the characters work. And they would not be nearly as impactful otherwise without that kind of association that we have.
Yeah, I was just going to talk about how other times that you see him do those sorts of characters, I was actually going to name drop those exact characters in those specific movies. Even then, when he's doing that, the way that those movies treat him is more as a comedic thing than as a serious thing still. So when he does it in this movie and suddenly none of it's funny, and the movie is treating him with this weight, and it all just comes right down on you, right?
He always because Walter has this he's flies off the handle in Big Lebowski, and he's got all of this this conspiratorial shit that he believes,
but he's only there to be a foil to the dude who's detrimentally chill about everything.
And he's got that soft side of him that you see when certain things, when shit hits the fan. And this guy, oh my god, I can't wait to talk about some of the script and some of the ways that he just acts things.
Oh yeah,
it's great.
You're telling me that this is Pacha from Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah, right.
I got Pacha and Kronk mixed up, and for a minute I was gonna make the same reference, but all I could remember was Kronk, and I'm like, I know that's Patrick.
Yeah, no, that guy's in Scream 3. Hey, Dewdrop.
That was so good. Anyway,
I'll go next so that we can have Jade go last, who was the only one who hadn't seen this movie before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, true.
We did it on purpose.
Yeah, so this was my second time watching the movie. The first watch, I did it completely blind. I knew nothing about it except people had been saying really good things about it, and to go in blind. And I really enjoyed it, but that was years and years ago. And so it's been a long time. I didn't remember the movie fully. I knew the end, kind of. There was a lot I forgot about the ending, but I knew generally what was at the end. And so watching it again this time was very illuminating in some interesting ways, and I thought it was really cool how tension was used and how awkward John Goodman's character was, and trying to explain everything. And I don't know, there was a lot of characterization on the second watch through that I just really enjoyed and I thought was really incredible. And I really like the ending for ways that we'll go into after the spoilers. And that's what I'll say. I'll leave it at that. But I'm giving this movie a 9 out of 10.
Wahoo.
I really like it. I wouldn't change much.
What I would change, I'll talk about in the spoiler section.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, same. I think I'm gonna give it a... I had come in thinking a 7. I think I'm gonna give it an 8. There are specific aspects of the ending that I like a lot, and there are other specific aspects of the ending that make me kind of mad, and that detracts from the whole thing an awful lot. We'll get to that later, of course. But for the most part, like, holy shit, this is a really fucking good movie. I love how strong the soundtrack is. It's Bear McCreary, of course. Like, Bear doesn't do bad work. It uses the Dies Irae really, really, maybe a little bit too liberally, but honestly, it keeps a consistent tone for the whole thing, and it just feels like an appropriate motif to throw in every time it gets tossed in. So, and the characters are all just really like well realized. Obviously, Howard, John Goodman's character, is portrayed really, really well. Like, that's just John Goodman. But also, like, Emmett, the other guy?
Yeah, John Gallagher Jr. I was waiting to talk about this.
Yeah.
He's so underrated in that role.
He does not feel to me in this movie like a character that got written. He feels like a guy that got put in a box.
Yeah. like, no joke.
I don't...
He
doesn't feel like the kind of dude that you pay somebody to pretend to be, you know? He's the guy that just shows up and is like that.
Which is it works for his character. Yeah. And two things to say about that are, one, Reddit recently, there was a horror Reddit post that was like, if you were put in a horror movie and you could save one character, who would you save? And I was like, Emmett. Immediately Emmett. He just shouldn't be in there like that. He just shouldn't be in there like that. My poor boy. And also, he was in Underwater and plays much the same character. But I like him way better here because I think...
Hush.
Wait,
is
was
that
him?
him?
I think that was right. Yeah, no,
Same
yeah.
guy.
The same
He's
dude.
such a different character in
You
that.
don't
I was
recognize
literally
him.
about to say you would not recognize him as the absolutely
Because I remember having
man from Hush.
that realization when we talked about Hush. Because the first movie that I ever saw him in was 10 Cloverfield Lane, and I fell in love with him. And then I just haven't. He just kind of comes up so infrequently after that. So yeah,
I still really want to see the black and white version of Hush.
me too.
God, yeah.
I almost special ordered that so that I would get it, and I was good, and I didn't spend $40 on the Hush Blu-ray, but
But at what
I
cost?
wanted to. Mike Flanagan,
cost?
if you're listening, make a new TV show. We'll do free promo. You hook us up with the Blu-rays.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, we're totally.
We're
good deal, Mike.
We won't
It's
do
a
it
good
anyway.
deal.
So we're
Did
hard
you
to
know
please.
This
that-
episode of Flanuary is going to be insane.
Hello, everyone. We're watching Hush again because Mike Flanagan gave us the Blu-ray.
Did you know there's a black and white version of Furiosa? I saw that on YouTube recently. I was like,
Yeah.
what?
I feel like
Fury Road and Furiosa both got a black and chrome cut.
I feel like Furiosa
Oh, that's
needs
cool.
its colors too much.
So does Fury Road. But it's different. It's a
Sure.
cool, different way where everyone agrees that for like Fury Road, I guess George Miller wanted to do it in black and white
Oh.
and that they did not. But he really loves the black and white cut, but many people agree, hey, it's really cool, but we like the color more.
That makes sense.
I keep meaning to watch the black and white version of Logan.
It's good.
Oh, yeah.
I like it a lot.
That's what I'm always hearing. And I like the movie.
I
Anyway.
keep meaning to watch the black and white version of Godzilla -1.
It's
Same,
also
same,
good.
same.
Cinephile.
I gotta say, before we get back to like the topic of things, this is maybe my unwashed masses take on movies. I don't really get the whole black and white remakes thing. I really feel like I don't really want to watch a black and white cut of a movie I've already seen. I just don't get the appeal.
So there's good black and white cuts and there's bad black and
There's
white
movies
cuts
you
because a
don't do
good
it.
black
I'm
and
aware
white
of
cut.
that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I know that you're aware of it, but like for the rest of the unwashed masses listening to the podcast, a good black and white cut fully regrades the entire film for like light and color so that it looks good rather than just slapping a filter on it and sending it out. Anyone can do that. But
Mhm.
it's cool to see the things that the people in charge thought were important enough to make pop in a way. Now that being said, I also get it.
Yeah, my opinion is all of the movies that they're doing this with already looked good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, they put the effort in to make it look good. Okay. I thought Godzilla -1 was a perfect masterpiece the way that it was. So I don't really personally see the point. But that is a me thing.
I think I'm pretty similar. I think I don't care much about most black and white, like remasters or whatever else you would call it. Um, I want to see Hushes because I love Mike Flanagan and I'm down to watch Hush again. And Mike has said that the black and white version is his favorite cut of the movie. And I think with -1 and Godzilla movies in particular, it has just such a long, like, cinematic history, starting with black and white films. And, like, so many of Godzilla's films are, like, black and white or have black and white versions. And so, kind of having, like, the newer movie also have that is just neat and cool. And I support it for that reason.
I have
But
a tendency to think about things like shot composition in different ways when there's no colors.
nerd.
All that said, I'm infinitely more interested in a movie that's just made to be in black and white, but on purpose, like
Yeah.
Robert Eggers' The Lighthouse.
Yeah, that's very interesting to me because it feels like a deliberate choice that was made and this is as a comic fan.
Right.
Not a limited edition new cover to make you buy the thing
Yeah.
a second time.
Yeah, which is most definitely what it feels like an awful lot of the time. It's certainly how the Logan one feels.
And no offense to Mike, love you, Mike, if you're listening, but him saying it's his favorite cut feels like I'm charging $40 for a Blu-ray. I'm gonna say something that makes the fans actually care enough to pay that. No offense, Mike, but like
Mike,
that's
yeah,
what
he's
I would
calling
do.
you a
sellout.
It's what I would say if I were in his position.
Mike has such a large fan base, and so few of his projects have gotten physical releases.
Yeah, that's fair. I do.
So I feel like
He's allowed to show.
for that alone, one of his Netflix movies getting a physical release, like having it be more expensive, is okay.
No, 100%.
But yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I get it.
No.
Before we move on, though.
Yeah.
Because we're going so fast.
We talked about this earlier, and then I had to look it up to make sure I was getting my information right. But did you all know we're getting 2 new Predator movies next year?
Holy shit, what?
Both by Dan Trachtenberg.
Okay.
Really?
What's the other one?
Man.
There's like Bloodbath and what?
So there's Badlands, which comes out November.
Oh, shit.
And then
Not
they've
Bloodbath.
said, basically, because of Prey's success, they were like, hey, Dan, do you want to come back and make another Predator movie? And he was like, yes, but I don't want to do Prey 2. And so they're like, okay, what do you want to do? And he pitched them so many different ideas, and they ended up picking 2 of them and making both.
Oh, hell yeah.
And they were like, and they're both coming out next year.
That's the
I don't
untitled
know that
Predator
the second
film.
one has gotten an official...
It hasn't. We were looking it up on Letterboxd.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's
But
currently untitled.
they've said
Predator
it's
film.
coming next year. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll say this. I was about to go off on another tangent about how and this is true, it bums me out when talented visionary directors get stuck to a franchise. But
Mhm.
if his creative vision is taking the reins, which it seems like it is, and if he had ideas that he and the studio were enthusiastic enough about that this is how it's going, then I actually won't complain. Actually, that's sounds good. Go off, Mr. Trachtenberg.
Yeah. All we know is that it is going to have a theatrical release, and it's coming out before the already announced one.
I need to watch Prey.
You haven't yet.
Have you not watched
Ooh.
Prey?
I've not watched Prey. I've only watched, I think, the first.
You haven't
Predator
either, Noah?
I have watched the first Predator movie, and I have watched Alien vs. Predator because Noah made me.
That's fair. That's fair.
Anyway,
That's the reason
real
to
good.
watch AVP. Yeah.
We love Jesse Ventura in the first Predator, don't we?
We
folks?
love referencing it for some reason, and by we I mean Noah. Let's get back to the movie we were going to
The first time I've ever done
No,
that.
it's not.
Okay,
Both times
so-
when you talked about it on the podcast, you mentioned that specifically.
Well, yeah, the one was a gabbing. It was topical.
Anyway.
Content warnings
Content
for
warnings.
10 Cloverfield Lane.
Noah has emotional manipulation and abuse. I want to add a very unsettling form of like sexism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very real. It feels very uncomfortable.
Potential veiled pedophilia.
Yeah, this is the thing that I was gonna talk about.
Veiled.
Very implied,
yeah.
but like if you're looking, it's there, and
Yeah.
with the whole abduction plot and everything, and
yeah.
I believe she was supposed to be not like
she was in her like
but
mid
like-
late 20s when they filmed it, and the character is supposed to be that age.
No,
but
no. I mean the abducted girl, since her clothes fit a grown adult.
That doesn't
That
matter. I wear
is
outfits
not-
that my friends wore when they were
That's
12.
fine. I understand, but the way Emmett was talking about it, ran away like end of high school.
Sure.
That does
I
not make
have
it
to
okay.
say-
I'm talking about
the-
the way Howard
the-
talks, though, and
Yes. Yes. The implication also being whether or not the people that he abducted were actually that age, he specifically abducts them because they remind him, this is a spoiler, sorry, because they remind him of his daughter.
Mhm.
So, who he did raise and whose mother did take her away from him. So the
Mhm.
implication is there heavily. So be aware of that. I think we pretty much outlined as deep as it gets
Yeah.
just now. I think that lots of melty stuff going on.
yeah, a little bit
Yeah.
of that like bodily deterioration horror, which is not exactly body horror in the traditional sense, but like
Sci-fi acid.
yeah,
Yeah.
sci-fi acid kind of stuff.
Not the fun acid, the
No.
melting people acid.
And I think the last thing I would say is like there is a shot near the end that's got some like lots of tooth going on, but that's all I
It's
got.
got a certain degree of tooth to it, I suppose.
That's reaching, but that's all I got.
Yeah. I don't got anything else.
Actually, Emma, I think you'll find you do have something else. If
What
you know
what do I
mean.
have, Noah?
Oh my god.
You have a certain element of knowledge that we're all looking for, if you know what I mean.
A certain set of skills. that you
Trans
acquired over
parallels
the
in this
course of a
movie.
long career.
Yeah, so I guess I can talk about the trans parallels in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
You see, being in the closet
Right.
is a lot like being in an underground bunker with a man that's very creepy towards you.
It is actually. It's a joke, but it's not really a joke. It's just true.
Emma, I have so much respect for you managing to bring that one home. I wasn't sure if you were going to make it, and you fucking did it.
I landed it.
How scary is this movie though?
Oh, it's not very scary. It's more uncomfortable.
Yeah. This is
It's
one
like
of the,
a 3 or a 4 on the uncomfortable scale.
Maintains tension really well. There's that.
It does tension really,
sure.
really well, for sure.
This may be
sure.
one of the more uncomfortable movie experiences that I've had just in general.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
You thinking
yeah.
like a 9?
I wouldn't say a 9 because I'm leaving space for movies that people have said made them throw up or whatever. But I would say that I would put, if I'm putting the substance at like a 7 or an 8, I'm putting this one at like a 6.
Okay, that's valid.
Okay.
Different kind of discomfort,
very,
but
very
I
different.
felt very squirmy in both.
Well,
They're
perfect.
both very much the horror of being a woman, just in different
And I think-
scenarios.
Yeah,
But,
we'll get
like-
into it when we actually get to talking about it, but yeah, that's the like summarization of the core of it. And I have a lot I want to say about that, so I'm excited. Okay. Are we ready for me to read the Wikipedia?
It certainly
Yeah.
seems that way.
Okay. A young woman named Michelle leaves her apartment in New Orleans after having an argument with her fiancé Ben, voiced by Bradley Cooper, by the way. That night, While driving through rural Louisiana, she hears a news report of blackouts in several major cities. Suddenly, Michelle's car is struck off the road, knocking her unconscious. Awakening with an injured leg, Michelle finds she is chained in a bunker. Her captor, an older man named Howard, unchains her and explains he captured her to save her life, and there has been an attack that left the air outside poisoned. Howard gives Michelle a tour of the bunker, which also houses his construction assistant, a younger man named Emmett. Through a viewport, Howard shows Michelle two decayed pigs outside as evidence of the fallout. However, Michelle sees Howard's truck and recalls it striking her car. She privately relays this to Emmett, who dismisses it, saying he came to the bunker voluntarily after witnessing the attack. During dinner, Howard shows flashes of jealousy and little tolerance for Emmett. Michelle attempts to escape, injuring Howard, but witnesses a woman covered in lesions outside who ends up bashing her head on the sealed door. Horrified, Michelle retreats, and Howard claims that he accidentally struck Michelle's car in panic trying to reach the bunker. Convinced into trusting him, Michelle stitches a cut that she caused when she attacked Howard. Over the next few days, the trio begins to adapt. It's not a few days. It's like the vibe that I got is that it was a few months.
Weeks at least. I got the impression it was
weeks at least. Yeah,
time.
Yeah. His cut heals a decent amount in this time. The trio begins to adapt to life underground, and Howard opens up about his late daughter. Soon, the air ventilation system fails as after something loud passes overhead. Howard sends Michelle through a small duct to reactivate it, and in the control room, she finds a padlocked skylight with "help" scratched on the inside, stained with blood, and an earring that she saw in a picture of Howard's daughter. When Michelle shares this with Emmett, he recognizes the girl in the picture as a local girl who disappeared 2 years earlier, and it is further revealed that Howard's actual daughter left with his wife. Deciding to seek help, Michelle begins to fashion a makeshift hazmat suit to venture outside. Howard finds the tools Michelle and Emmett were using to make the hazmat suit and threatens to immerse them both in perchloric acid. When Emmett claims sole responsibility, Howard shoots and kills him, telling a shocked Michelle that now they can be a family of two. Michelle secretly finishes the suit while Howard cleans up, and when Howard discovers this, Michelle flees and is able to upend the barrel of acid onto him, disfiguring him and starting a fire. Leaving Howard to his fate, Michelle dons the suit and escapes. Michelle sees birds outside and realizes there is no longer any fallout. She removes her mask and notices a biomechanical alien craft, in the distance, which notices her when the bunker explodes from the fire. The craft attacks Michelle, discharging a green gas, which she overcomes with her mask. Michelle is attacked by a quadrupedal. Man, this Wikipedia writer. Biomechanical quadrupedal. You like aliens a lot, don't you? Anyway, a quadrupedal creature and takes shelter in Howard's truck. The craft's tentacles lift the truck to reach Michelle, but she destroys it with a Molotov cocktail. Escaping in the woman's car, Michelle hears a broadcast about the battle with invaders, and survivors are instructed to seek safety in Baton Rouge, while help is requested from anyone with medical or combat training in Houston. Michelle heads for Houston, while a larger alien craft is revealed, silhouetted by lightning. That's a pretty decent summary.
Very stripped back, but it's a pretty good one.
Very fast.
Speed.
Yeah, I love a fast, personally, I love a fast summary. Especially when this movie has so much that we can talk about with it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, sorry Wikipedia person for making fun of you for using big words to describe the aliens. I actually find it kind of cute and endearing.
I'm not sorry.
My only problem is that creature does not appear to be quadrupedal to me.
It did, because when she's
blobby.
like,
does it not?
No, it was on all
It
floors.
runs after her at one point.
No, it's talking about the one that was on the ground running after her, I believe.
Yeah.
There's a shot where it's on all fours.
Mm-hmm.
It's moving quick.
A little guy.
Little
all
guy.
Four corners of the blob, maybe. I don't know. It doesn't look like legs, does it?
I saw it literally looked like it was like
It's got limbs.
It looked a little bit like the ones from the skydiving segment in
chunkier.
A little chunkier, yeah.
A lot chunkier. It's like
Okay, so I'm doing the edit right now, and it's just occurred to me that I never said out loud during the episode that I was wrong. I have no idea why I was perceiving this alien as being blob-like when it is very clearly a weird quadrupedal thing. I don't know. My bad.
It looks like a bat.
Jacked.
It reminds me of videos you see of bats running. They're cute when they run.
They
kind of gallop. It's adorable.
Things. That's just how
they
bats
are. Bats are just cute. Yeah. So do we want to jump right into
the ending? So here's what I would change.
We're already talking about the aliens, so let's talk about the ending.
I'd make it quicker.
Yeah, I do think it drags a little.
I don't think we need as much ending. I think getting out of the bunker is a great ending.
Mm-hmm.
I think seeing some things happen, not to put too fine of a Resident Evil on this, but if she came out and then saw aliens and then those aliens got shot down by a government group sweeping the area, I think that would have been
I would have been mad at
listen.
Full on, I would have been mad. You're fine.
That's fine.
You want what you want.
That's kind of a missed ending, isn't it, a little bit? To be like, she was so close to being saved
Well,
or
no,
whatever.
because she wouldn't have been saved from the bunker. Because the idea would be that they were like on their way through and they were like, oh, cool, let's kill this alien.
It's still kind of too coincident.
Where she doesn't have a big face-off against this alien.
With nothing but a fucking Molotov cocktail. Yeah.
I do not care for that.
See,
I like a lot of other, I like every other element of this movie, but it's very clear that this is where they had to adapt the other script to make it work.
Yes.
Because this was originally a script called The Cellar, was not connected to Cloverfield at all.
Oh.
And they made some alterations to make it fit in and be like a cousin of the Cloverfield film. And it's this ending is what they did.
And it works. Like, the concept of it works because I like the twist of Howard having been right. I really, really like it.
Yeah, it's a cool twist.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the showdown thing, it's the same thing I didn't really love about Last Voyage of the Demeter, which is like, we have had such a wonderful, suspenseful story up until this point. The pacing has been very masterful. And then in our final act, we're like, and then big monster fight with weapon. And it's like, yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the thing. Going into this movie, I remembered she got up out of the cellar. There was an alien spaceship, and I thought she ran from the spaceship but got caught by it, and then that's where the movie ended. Watching the ending again, I was like, oh, I didn't remember a lot of this. But and I thought it was long, but as I stewed on it over the past hour, I thought about and also while I watched the actual ending, thinking about how else they could have done it, I was like, if they just had her escape and then there wasn't actually any radiation or anything on the surface and she was fine and she was just able to take off her suit and be fine and drive off into the distance. That's boring. It's been done a lot before. I feel like it would be pretty forgettable.
And on top of that, I think that Howard's fervent belief that something is wrong is actually what sells the entire bunker situation. That makes it good anyway.
And not just Howard's belief, but our belief and Michelle's belief. It's important that we question it, and then at that point, it's a much more interesting ending to have it be real.
Yeah. And then I was like, but if she got up there and there were Russians, I was like, that's just kind of corny.
What if?
Yeah. And I don't think that would be good.
Russians and aliens.
And so I was like, I kind of like. I was like, I kind of like that they went with the batshit ending.
Yeah.
And they were like, fucking aliens. And I agree. They could have cut the ending down a good bit. They could have finished it where she's driving and then she starts hearing radio signals. I didn't need the action hero movie
that's the part.
She's going to Houston.
Yeah.
But that constitutes 3 minutes of the movie, so it wasn't a huge deal to me.
For me, the I'm going to Houston thing to me solidified a couple things, which is, first of all, that when she's first in the bunker, she doesn't really have much faith in her ability to do things, but she's a very resourceful person. And after it's such a twisted way of thinking, but after her fixing up Howard and him complimenting her surgical skills and her making a functional maybe hazmat suit and escaping the bunker, she knows that she is capable of things that she would not have known she was capable of if she hadn't been through that bunker situation. And I think it's a good show of her character development, because Michelle at the beginning of the movie would have gone to Baton Rouge, and Michelle, after everything she went through in the bunker, would go to Houston. And I like that personally.
Yeah.
Counter. I find it very annoying when you get all the way to the final couple of minutes of a movie and suddenly they allude to a more action-packed movie that is not about to happen.
I don't
And
think that.
hold on, and
yeah,
it
okay.
allows them to end the movie on a kick-ass hell yeah kind of note that the movie did not earn.
But I think
The movie earned an awful lot. It did not earn the particular tone that it finishes on.
I don't know. I disagree with that. I think the only thing I don't like about the ending is the Molotov cocktail specifically. I don't like that was the weapon used and that was the shot that they like went all crazy on and all of that stuff. I wish that she had ran. I wish she'd had a more competent weapon that I could more believe would be like useful in this situation. You know, I think it's just kind of cheesy to be like armed with nothing but a Molotov cocktail.
Honestly, Alien Spaceship is a regular ass UFO with only one alien in it, and she stole his gun and just empties the thing into it in a panic moment and kills the alien. Actually, I think might save this for me.
I had kind of thought that what should happen is we keep the Molotov cocktail, right? We keep the moment where she throws it, thing explodes, it drops her, she falls down, we hear her scream, crunch as the car hits the ground, and it cuts to black. I think that's the moment that it should stay silent and just roll the credits. I kind of like the idea.
No, that's a bummer ending.
I like the idea.
I don't
of
like a bummer ending for Michelle.
Not for this.
I
She
love
earned
a
a
bummer
win.
ending, but
Lots of times a character earns a win and then can't have one. That's a tragic ending.
I'm not watching this to be a downer bummer movie.
Okay.
This movie is dark enough
This
without
movie
that.
is doing the other thing is that this movie is doing certain things where there are certain movies like we watched that one new French Extremity.
Frontiers.
Inside.
No, the other one that we watched with Rob.
Frontiers.
Yeah, Frontiers. Where it's like the overall tone of that one, I'm ready for that to be a bummer. Even when she gets an upper hand, I'm like, this is not going to last. With Michelle and Howard and everything going on there, and the acid spilling and the thing catching on fire, there's a sense that the world is on her side to some extent. Her being sent into the vent and finding the clues that she needs there. Emmett being there to take the fall at the moment that she would have needed to. To me, there is overall just a sense that this is not going to be something like there's tense moments, but I don't get the feeling that the world wants her to fail, that the writer wants her to fail. So I think that in this case, the bummer ending would have been a rug pull to me. I also think that the over-the-top badass ending felt like a little bit of a rug pull at the time. As watching it in theaters, I was disappointed. So I think that there's a more grounded middle ground that just...
But here's the thing. I feel like I know how to get you all on the side of this ending.
Okay.
You ready? Imagine the ending is playing out. The radio is like, if you have medical training or if you are willing to go into combat, come to Houston. We need you. She backs up. She looks at the sign. It says Houston to the left, Baton Rouge forward. She puts it in drive, turns, Lincoln Parks, all live. Does that make it better?
We're getting a Transformers Resident Evil ending for real. We're getting Saw 2's Mudvayne song.
Can we get a Rob Zombie song in the credits?
I will say something about this
Daredevil,
movie.
except it just says Cloverfield instead of Daredevil.
Something about this movie that on a rewatch did kind of, I think, make it lose points is that this movie is good, but it's not completely silent opening, cut to the credits as we go in a car crash off the cliff good to me. It's not soundtrack plays over like her packing her clothes good to me. Some of it just felt a little melodramatic when I knew where it was going. And especially when I knew where it was going with the ending. I'm like, wow, you're getting really art housey for a movie that's going to end with a woman throwing a Molotov cocktail into a CGI alien spaceship spewing green gas.
Yeah, that part is very Cowboys and Aliens, and nothing leading up to it is very much like that. And the intro is not much like most of the movie. And
yeah,
there's something.
And No, go ahead.
Something that I wrote down in my notes on my second watch was that she kind of has like two different movies going on just as a side dish to everything that actually happens in this one. Because I feel like her whole fashion design, ditching her fiance thing, that's a movie by itself, clearly. That she has just accidentally stumbled out of and into the movie that she ends up in. And then she gets out of that one and ends up in another one with the aliens. And I do really like how jarring the shifts between those are.
Yeah, I think another thing that got me with that opening, and maybe this is intentional, is that the like sudden car crash tonal shift thing is such like a goofy, overdone thing in horror movies. It happens in Get Out, it happens in Talk to Me, it happens in other ones that I'm not even listing here. I know it happens in some of the Cabin Fever movies. Like
it feels
that it's like the fact that they're playing it so seriously in this opening scene where they cut to the artistic credits. I'm like, are you serious? I forgot this is how it started.
It feels, that scene felt to me very like, hey, remember how Mary Elizabeth Winstead was in that Final Destination movie? Anyways, here's 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Okay. Enough ragging on it, though.
Sure.
Because it does just, in my opinion,
There's
like,
a lot
it doesn't
more good
deserve
to
that much
talk about
ragging.
than things to complain about. I don't care about my complaints all that much, actually.
Honestly,
like,
I want to talk about one thing in particular, and I'm curious if anyone had a similar experience or a similar thought. So the first time you watch this movie, obviously you don't know what's happening. You think John Goodman's character is like very dangerous, and he is. But like all of his actions and everything are through the lens of this guy is dangerous and has kidnapped this woman and is holding her hostage. And then on the rewatch, you know, like what he's saying is true. Something is happening on the surface, and he is keeping these people alive, though he is problematic. And I had completely forgot about the subplot of him having killed that one girl and done other bad things probably to her. And so watching it this time, when main character first woke up and he was trying to explain things to her, I was like, oh, he's not that evil. He's just like neurodivergent and bad at explaining things. And then the stuff about him having daughter issues and the ways he expressed that, I was like, oh, this
guy's fucked up.
He's also kind of fucked up in more ways. But I did think like this guy's a little neurodivergent. Just in the way he's like interacting with people and like very awkward. But Nina, you're raising your hand.
I think he has PTSD from military service.
I think,
that is consistent with his paranoia and his inability to register how his paranoia comes across to other people, and his inability to move past his daughter's maturing. It all seems to come together to me to be someone who is very traumatized. So that's my personal read on him.
Yeah, me.
I'd also
I
like
think
to
that's
say,
a better read than my read.
I also think there's a lot of the entitled boomer mentality kind of thing about this guy, in addition to which Noah hates the troops moment. This is something I see a lot in vets. You owe me because XYZ. So not only did he personally save her life, but he's a vet, so he has different hangups because of that. Not getting into, but like a lot of that and the conditionality of why he's helping them.
And the frustration with Emmett as someone who has not experienced that and has very little real world experience.
And who wasn't invited to be in this shelter. And
who is getting a free handout and is still somehow receiving more affection than the one who saved everyone.
Between the conspiracy theorist veteran angle and the let's just call it what it is, old man incel mentality. This guy just
Yeah.
felt so goddamn familiar to me. Like I was talking
He's
earlier
so
about how Emmett
divorced.
doesn't feel like a written character. He feels like a guy put in a box to me. Howard is in a different way very much kind of the same to me. He does not feel like a guy that somebody had to make up out of thin air. He is a capturing
That's
of
the
a
strength of
series
this
of real
movie.
phenomena that just happen all the goddamn time.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead's character feels the most like a movie character. And it's so interesting because she feels like the type of character that in a worse written movie would be the Mary Sue. She's
so close to just being some girl in the bad way.
But she has she's young, she's resourceful, she's smart, she knows to set something on fire and put it in the vent to smoke them out and sharpen her crutch, and like she's doing all this MacGyver shit, and she just happens to have the one skill that's going to serve them in escaping and like all of this stuff. But here's the thing, and this leads me into the whole horror of being a woman thing. She is still in this scenario just a girl. Next to a vet with a bunker, she may have all of these specifically handy resourceful skills, and she might be clever as hell, but she is a girl trapped in a bunker with this guy.
She is in so far over her head.
And it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, personally, that is incredibly frightening, because when you are in the presence of a man who has this perception of you as a little girl, my favorite scene in the movie is when they're playing that word association game, and he's trying to get Emmett's trying to get Howard to guess Little Women, and he says little, and they get little, and he's like, okay, second word, Michelle's one of these, and he does not he doesn't think of her as a woman. He lands on Little Princess. Oh my God, it makes me want to hurl.
Both multiple times, and then lands on princess.
It makes me sick. That is the most, that is like the substance level moment of discomfort, is the look on her face as they both can't acknowledge it because they don't have the power to. Yeah. And this is why I love Emmett as a character, is he recognizes he's not a bright guy. Emmett's not smart. But he catches it. But he is so the two of them are exchanging this same thought of princess, like, it's so uncomfortable, and they can't say anything about it because of the position of power that he holds over them.
And what I love especially, because I was going to emphasize a bunch of things that happen in that scene the way that you just did. Before that, though, the dinner scene, when she taunts Howard by flirting with Emmett, and Howard just like flips his shit immediately. I love the way that whole scene plays out, because you can tell, like, just by watching her as she thinks through it and stuff, she has, of course, read Howard like a book because he is so obvious. And she knows exactly what to do to get under his skin. But what she does to try and just irritate him and show that he's not fully in charge causes him to fully flip his shit right then in the moment. And the way that he talks to her and to Emmett is so blatantly like referencing the fact that he has staked his claim on her as like some kind of a concubine or something. And I am so struck by the way that he doesn't even feel a need to couch it in any way at all. This isn't even saying the quiet part for him. He feels so entitled to her because of whatever it is that he has rendered for her, that he thinks he can just say out loud, "You owe me," physically, romantically, fucking whatever. And that's just the way that he sees it. Right, like...
Yeah. Yeah.
I think, for me, one of the more uncomfortable kind of turns in their relationship is, like, when you discover that one girl was kidnapped and was not, in fact, his actual daughter, you're obviously concerned, oh shit, was there a kind of gross pedophilic connotation to it? Probably, but this guy seems to just have a lot of daughter issues. And so maybe it's just he kidnapped this girl to be his like
A
pretend
surrogate
daughter, a surrogate, and it was just like still an uncomfortable situation, but nothing creepy was going on, and maybe that's what's happening here. But then after he kills Emmett and he shaves and like goes and meets her, I'm like,
And
oh
the ice
fuck
cream
no.
thing
it
and
is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to say something
Yeah.
here. I have two reads on that because I definitely think it could be that. But I think that just as unsettling is the implication that, again, he seems stuck in time and that he looked younger when his daughter was younger. And he is still trying to salvage that relationship, and that he's not necessarily jealous of any sexual attention Emmett's getting. He's just jealous that Emmett is getting any positive attention at all.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm not saying it's not there, because I definitely think it is. But the first time I watched it, my read was definitely the grasping for that lost moment in time and trying to make up for it. Yeah.
I love the way that kind of thing kind of gets showcased in like some of the earlier scenes when she has just woken up and he's explaining things and stuff. When he makes reference to the idea that she owes him for saving her and blah blah blah. And when she says thank you to him for that, we get a shot of his face. And the look on his face is so like, he's so goddamn pleased with himself. He feels like he is the goodest boy. He has done the good thing. He's finally getting recognized for it the way that he should have. And like, I feel like that kind of dovetails right into what you were just saying, is that he also wants recognition for the fact that he has done things that help people. And that's, again, the veteran entitlement, right? Because I'm betting that he didn't do great in the Navy. I'm assuming with the kind of awkwardness that he holds toward every interaction that he has, he probably had a tough time socially there. I mean, that could be.
I think that that's a result of the awkwardness he has in normal relationships. From what I have seen in the veterans in my life, is a result of having to be in a specific social relationship for so long in military service that you kind of forget what it's like to not be in those scenarios, and then it's easy to this is something that kind of gets into like my relationship with like my parents. Is it's easy to fall into old dynamics where someone's an authority over you and you're just doing whatever they say. It's harder to go into more nuanced relationships after being in that and relearn how to have those nuanced relationships, because the way that he talks to Michelle when he's telling her what to do, when he's scolding her, when he's making her sew up his wound because she's the one who did it, when he's basically like, if you go in, it's very military. If you go in there and you get stuck, we won't be able to help you, so don't get stuck.
Because the way I was reading that is I don't think he had any issues in the military because there's a clean hierarchy there.
Yes,
right.
Exactly.
And now they're in his house, which means he's the one in charge.
And
well,
they
but
are
there is a clear
into
power dynamic.
Yeah.
It's his house.
Yeah.
His bunker. He's in charge. And then they're being very casual about the way they are, which is, firstly, not playing well for him, the guy that kidnapped a girl to hide in a bunker with him, who also, there's this loser from next door who never even went to college.
Here's the thing about Emmett. Two things. One, he directs all of his ire at Emmett because he doesn't want to be mean to Michelle outright, because he doesn't want her to not like him. And that is the whole reason at this point that by the time he's fed up with Emmett, he's not going to kick Emmett out until Emmett admits wrongdoing. Because if he gets rid of Emmett before it's justified, then Michelle's not going to talk to him anymore. Right. So Emmett's only there because Howard wants Michelle to like him, and he knows that she likes Emmett, and so he can't get rid of Emmett. It's so interesting watching him be a pawn in both of their games, and seeing him just like have to have these realizations that Michelle is having. It's a very well written scenario, because without Emmett, there would be no one to confirm the suspicions that Michelle has about to confirm that the outside is dangerous, and then later on to confirm that the earring belongs to someone that is not Howard's daughter.
Yeah.
So having him there serves so many narrative purposes, but as a character, he was not supposed to be there. But if he hadn't been there, Michelle would be dead.
Yep. Because she has all the bad vibes in the world, but did not have the definitive, that is not his daughter. Whatever he's telling you is doubly not true.
And it's
also,
oh, go ahead.
I love when he's talking about his daughter. And then, because I think every story he told is definitely about his real daughter.
I believe that, yeah.
And that he has just attached his daughter to whoever else he ends up locking up in his bunker. But I really, really feel like the line, her mother turned her against me, is a really great one.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of when guys who are too stupid to live are like, yeah, my kid's mom made me out to be the bad guy, if you can believe it. And it's like, brother, I've known you for 30 seconds and I don't want my kids to know you. I don't even have kids.
It's just like my dad for real.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of when I was at the historical wargaming convention, and I was talking to this guy about how he paid for his ex-wife to go through nursing school, and he very emphatically said the phrase, the more educated she became, the less appreciative she was of me. And I was just like, I wonder what the correlation could be here. But I didn't say anything because I was trying to sell him something.
Ain't capitalism a
The number of
bitch?
times I've said, oh yeah, to people who say the most out of pocket
darndest
shit
things.
because I'm just like, if I say and hand you back your $10, then we'll be done. And if I say anything else, that's a conversation.
Howard is the fucking epitome of those men who come into my coffee shop.
Can I have a black coffee?
Coffee
You make
used to
those?
cost
I bet
a
nobody
nickel
even
when-
drinks black coffee anymore except for me.
Yeah,
I'm the
do you
last
have
one.
just a? This is my favorite. This ticks me off every time. I'm getting to the point where maybe I've been working in this job too long, and people who are just saying normal things. One that pissed me off today for no good reason was this is people hearing this who order coffee. Do not take this personally and don't listen to
Don't
me.
internalize
Do
anything
not
Nina
internalize
says.
Nina
I'm
is
about to
talking
say.
about you in particular.
Someone came in today and asked me if we still had pumpkin flavoring. I'm like, no, I'm sorry, we're out of that. And they went, oh no, oh darn. Well, I don't know what I'm gonna get then. And for some reason, I had just heard that so much recently. And it's like, what am I supposed to do? We're out. I can't sympathize with you. I'm so tired. And I've heard it 6 times today. I'm just like,
This is so funny because this is me versus half of my employees moment where I hear this 3 times and I'm like, I'm gonna cook up an answer. I'm gonna be ready. And then the people I work with are like, why do people keep asking for caramel vodka? We're sold out. And I'm like, they don't know that, man.
right.
So
I
find
know
a new
that they
thing
don't.
to tell them
I'm
to
always
buy.
like, well, but here's what ticks me off. I'm like, well, we have maple and cinnamon. Those are kind of our holdover, like, kind
Yeah,
of.
I have caramel whiskey, so it's
Right.
an easier transition.
I don't have anything, and I'm like, we won't be getting in more seasonals until we switch over to our winter flavors next week. They're just like, I just really wanted pumpkin, and I'm like, well, we don't have pumpkin. We don't have it. Anyway,
I'm sorry, you're right.
my
It should
least
still
to
be
get back to
here.
Howard, my least favorite. We're out. I'm sorry. People go through that.
That's why
stuff
you have
like
to have
crazy.
a backup order ready. You bring the
We
stick
did.
of butter from
we
your
went
purse
through
and
the
you say, "This is
entire
what I want."
supply. Yeah, no, people need to bring in their own. Bring in your own syrup. I do have one guy who brings in
No.
his
A whole
own
stick of
sugar-free
butter
syrup.
is what I'm saying to bring.
I'm not talking about the butter people again. I can't do this.
So
people.
it was a case of you just ran out of
Yeah.
the flavoring rather than it just being like, oh, like that season is over.
That season is over. That is the thing. Is that we're done.
But
We ran out,
is
and
it
that was the
though?
end of the season.
That's what I'm saying. Emma.
we ran
because
out.
pumpkin is still
we had to
a
stop.
very popular flavor for Thanksgiving.
A
So
real
It's
ally
out of
would
the
still-
coffee
So
and it's
we-
into pies now.
We cannot get any more in. That's the
Uh-huh.
deal. Is we are no longer able to get it in. So it's not that we decided the season's over. It's that the season decided it was over itself, and there's
it's
nothing
the
I can do about it.
corporations.
You know who else can't get any more pumpkin?
Jesus Christ.
Howard
Oh.
I was
Stammer
about
in
to
his
talk
bunker.
about fucking Howard because the type of guy that Howard reminds me of is the type of guy who comes in and they look at the board and they get
I don't even
confused
know
by all
what
the words on the
chai
board.
latte
That's
is.
that literally. What's a Chemex. And I'm like, yeah, you don't really want that. But then they go, how do I order just a woman did this to me. It was so cute. She goes, how do I order just a regular coffee? And I don't know what got into me, but I said, you say, can I have a regular coffee? And her daughter lost it. I think I did it because her daughter was standing right there and I could tell that I was going to have someone in my court.
That's so good.
But yeah, that's the type of order that kills me is people who come in and are like, I just want a cup of regular coffee. And I'm like, we have that. I have that here for you. I can do a small or a large. And then they get mad at me for not playing into their mocha frappuccino game. That's what Howard reminds me of. I have to talk to a lot of people like that often. And it is the same people who, to get back to it, kind of insist. I'm not a very feminine person. I wear t-shirts, baggy t-shirts and flannels to work.
Like cargo pants.
And recently I have put into the rotation some looser fitting cargo pants. And I have recently cut my hair shorter again. So I am trying my best to put out sort of, if not androgynous vibes, please don't call me ladies vibes. And these are the type of men who will intentionally call me miss, ma'am, and ladies, and hun, and sweetheart, because they can tell I don't want to be called that. That's what Howard reminds me of. So that's, I think, why this movie earns such a high discomfort rating, is because I feel that when I watch Michelle like trapped in this scenario where she can't express the discomfort at being called little princess, that's exactly how I feel when I'm at work and a man calls me hun or angel or sweetheart, and I'm just like, unfortunately you are the customer and therefore I will make you your drink and send you on your way.
Just call them princess back.
Ooh.
I can't. I'd love to.
Draw a little tiara on
that's
his
not a
cup.
power move.
What's going on, girly pop? What can I get you?
I do that to men that I'm comfortable with, but that's the problem, right? So, yeah, I don't know. It's just really good at capturing that. There are subtleties in the script that I think are just like so intricately done that they're really they impress me with how much, again, watching it a second time, the moment that he walked into the room, the acting choices that John Goodman makes.
Yeah, I was actually just about to call back to Brian Tellerico's review. Like,
Man doesn't make
Winston
a
and
single
Goodman
misstep.
really do. They match each other very, very well. And Goodman's choice to keep Howard reined in and very tensely under control 90% of the time really works. So that, like, you know, he doesn't even freak out when she tries to stab him with the, like, crutch in the same way.
He's so
But
calm for
she
that.
she touches Emmett's hand, and that man presses her against the wall with his face an inch away from hers. One of the most uncomfortable scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
And then she steals his keys.
It's so good. And it's one of those things where you can it can tell. It's kind of like the Black Phone with the grabber and Finney. It's like you can tell that the relationship between Winstead and Goodman must have been there. I hope anyway.
Yeah, Jesus.
That there was a good amount of trust there, because much like with Scream, the amount of intense like touch there is and the intense like getting into it like back and forthing is so yeek. When he turns on the music after
that like weird confidence he has for that scene suddenly.
After they've figured out that, because he thinks that they're having a good old time, and that there is that tenseness in the air. And I remember in the movie in the theater, the way that he like shakes his butt during that scene, that stuck with me. That was so uncomfortable.
Good.
I was like,
He just danced.
Didn't like his little dance.
As John Goodman doing a little dance, loved it. As Howard, I wanted to die. I felt like that same like, it's very siblings have found out something they don't want their mom to know, and their mom just happens to be in a good mood. And you're just like, okay, we have to take advantage of this good mood for as long as we can because we know she's going to find out about this and be pissed.
Yeah, the partnership between Emmett and Michelle really just has that very sibling-ish kind of feel, doesn't it? Like, it's...
The
Emmett's
only
not
time that
trying
she
to get
flirts with
anything
him...
from her or anything. She only flirts with him to get on Howard's nerves, stops that immediately
Once.
when it is shown that that's only going to get her violence.
And then
And
their
he never-
relationship is
He never
so...
pushes anything. He just
No.
wants them to be able to not have to deal with Howard, same as her.
They are a safe space for each other, which I really appreciate. I also do enjoy how kind of dim he is, how kind of like not super like picking up what's being put down a lot of the
Not that
time.
he's dumb, but they perceive things in very different ways.
Yeah. And it's not even one of those things where it's like man versus woman.
No.
They just have very different ways of looking at things. And I appreciated like how those two different ways of looking at things lead to the movie playing out the way it does. Like him taking the blame for her, you can tell that he doesn't think that's going to get him killed.
Yeah, he thinks he's going to get consequences, but not that.
God.
Ugh.
Sorry, I bummed myself out.
It's real sudden and it's real sad.
Especially, there's like that split-second moment where like John Goodman manages to convey like, oh, this is going to be okay. And then it's not.
Apology.
You know, there's just a split second where he's like, thank you. I accept your apology.
And you're like, okay.
And it's
cool.
like, damn, I can't believe this worked out. And then, yeah, goes full Walter.
Well, that's like a double Walter. Walter didn't fire that gun at anybody. Well, he did. He did,
It's true.
actually, but he didn't hit anybody.
Can I tell you the stupidest Big Lebowski theory I've heard all like in ages?
Is that where we're at in this Cloverfield episode?
I'm sorry, but
Let's
like,
hear your Big Lebowski theory. I'm interested. I love that movie.
it's not my Big
I've
Lebowski
never
theory.
watched
I gotta
Big
get
Lebowski.
ahead
You
of this.
haven't?
Not
Ooh,
mine.
Do you like Coen Brothers movies?
This is not a spoiler for the movie.
This is not a spoiler.
I don't know that I've ever seen a Coen Brothers movie.
See, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Big Lebowski.
No Country for Old Men.
Oh, I did see that one.
Shit,
Yeah.
what's that other one? Fargo.
Fargo.
Mhm.
I haven't seen
Shit.
Fargo.
Ooh.
It's very good.
You are missing
I
out
haven't
on a
seen Fargo.
world
That's
of fun
the
movies.
We
I
own
watched
Fargo.
True Grit, but I didn't
that-
like it because I don't like
That's-
westerns.
I
Okay,
don't
so I
think
won't
that-
ask about the Ballad of
I don't think
Buster
that one was very-
Scruggs.
Anyway, the
here's
theory
this,
Noah heard.
Here's this truly awful theory that Steve Buscemi is a figment of Walter's
this
imagination.
sucks.
Yeah, literally, the guy barely got it out of his mouth before I said, I really hate that theory, man. That sucks.
Donnie's character.
And he's like, no, but think about it. Like, Walter's the only one that talks to Donnie.
That's not
I'm like, that's not
remotely
true.
true.
Other people talk
Besides,
to him.
it's very obvious that Donnie is the linchpin in the dude and Walter's relationship. He's the reason that they know each other. Because
Yeah.
it doesn't make
He's
sense for them to
also
be
the
friends.
third
but it
member
makes
of their
perfect
fucking
sense for
bowling
both of them
team.
to know him, and for each of them to be looking for a bowling partner, and for him to be like, oh,
Yeah.
hey, I've got another friend. We could put a team together. And that's how that happened. Like, that's the implied story of
Yeah.
the beginning of the movie, even. Like, come on. That's
Yeah.
stupid shit.
No, it's
Come
so
on.
I mean, this is the same coworker that's like, there's a theory that the Rugrats were dead the whole time. Like that kind of
Is
shit.
this-
He hits me with this all
I'm
the
going to
time.
bleep this name out. Is this fucking? Because
No,
I swear to God,
no.
if it's
Bleep this out. Is it?
No, it's
Oh my
the
god!
one that says it's
Oh
actually
my
super
God,
compelling
no.
to think that the Star Wars
Not that
movies are
guy.
told from the perspective of the droids and that they're the main characters. I'm like, shut the fuck up. It's not a compelling story that way. It's a fucking Reddit ass story.
it
It's a
affects
Reddit
I
fucking
think it's
read.
really
reading
funny.
The movies at all. It's a nothing theory. It doesn't.
I think
affect
it's really
anything.
funny because I know the coworker that Jay just named, the coworker I named, and your friend.
And all of them
And all of them
could
are
have said this.
constantly saying shit like
My
that.
friend would not have said this,
Oh, I was gonna say,
but
who,
he would say something else.
bringing it back to 10 Cloverfield
Right.
Lane.
Yes.
His, you can bleep his name. Has always reminded me of Emmett.
Oh, very
no.
very similar vibes. Yes, I was thinking this the
Yeah,
whole time
no,
watching
it's
it.
very Emmett coded.
He's very Emmett coded. Yeah.
Yeah. That's something
Someday,
that
Emma, if you come back to the States, you can meet my friend. Legally not Emmett.
Back across the ocean.
legally not Emmett, yeah. But yeah, does anyone have anything else they want to say? I think I've said my piece.
The alien
this is a very good movie.
spaceship looks really good. I like the design a lot. I like the noises.
I actually hate it.
What's your problem?
Listen,
But I get it.
I don't like it in this movie, but as an alien ship design, it is so War of the Worlds.
Yeah,
I like it,
especially
a lot.
like when it starts like dumping that green shit out to try and kill her. Like that shit looks so fucking cool. I like that a lot. I like the design. I think it is cool. I don't like the alien itself.
I think it's kind of I don't know. It just feels like it's designed for a movie where it's only going to be in the last 20 minutes.
Ooh, ouch.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, fair. Okay.
That's all I got. I don't think it is exceptionally unique, which is why I compared
I
it.
just think it looks cool.
No. Yeah.
It's blimpish. I like a blimp core kind of design, you know.
I like the fucking Viking style ass fucking paddles and rudders and shit. That's like the flapping of the that was kind of cool. It's definitely like there's something there, but it's something that would have been rejected concept art in any other movie.
Ooh, okay, yeah. I follow that.
I have one more thought that I want to pose to everybody before we do Noah's notes.
Okay.
Fuck, marry, kill.
Okay.
Emmett, the alien, or the 1984 Ford truck that was featured in 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Okay. All right.
All right, so obviously we'll make our first things. We kill Emmett again.
No. I wish you guys could have seen the facial expressions.
Noah got his joke in.
And everybody laughed.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I think
I was about for a fucking callback.
I can't even answer this question because I'm really no one's gonna like what I have to say.
Nina's gonna fuck a truck.
You have actually made me sound more normal. Fuck the alien, marry Emmett, kill the truck.
Kill the truck.
Kill the truck.
Yeah, kill the truck.
Kill the truck.
Yeah, kill the truck.
You can't buy trucks like that anymore.
I would fuck Emmett, kill the alien, and marry the truck.
What do you think the emissions are on that fucking thing?
Who cares what the emissions are? The world's over.
But it's
You're like
run
the only
forever.
person driving a truck in the world.
Truck didn't save her. So
yeah, it did. It literally did. It was like, please have a bottle of high-proof alcohol in your time of need, because that's the kind of truck that has a glove box bourbon.
Glove
okay,
box
so then I
bourbon
guess
was
it
my
would be
favorite Ted Nugent song.
Counterpoint though, because I'm definitely marrying Emmett. What that mouth do?
Emmett's mouth probably like what every other mouth.
No,
does.
the alien.
Oh. It sucks masks off your face.
I hope
other
its
things.
teeth are retractable.
That alien is an anti-masker. I'm sorry, I had to be the one to say it.
Anyone else have an answer so that I'm not alone?
I gave my
in this?
answer, and you said I was weird for marrying the truck.
And I killed him.
I mean, you're the one who watched the car get pregnant in the one that you watched, Jade?
Yeah. No, the car didn't get pregnant. The woman got pregnant from the car.
Oh, I see. I forgot. Because the other way around makes way more sense to me.
Wasn't that a Cannes winner?
Something.
I gotta
Pump
watch
the
Titan.
brakes. No,
Well, let's go to Noah's notes.
Noah says, damn dude.
We didn't even talk about Ben, the worst boyfriend.
Okay, I actually was about
he's
to.
Barely,
so Ben,
well, I mean, he's not in the movie.
Sucks. He's Bradley
All
Cooper.
we know about him is
and if
that he
I
sucks
had a
bad
nickel
enough for her to leave him.
for every movie I've seen in the past year where Bradley Cooper plays a cameo role as a shitty significant other of a main character that I really like, I'd have 2 nickels.
What's the other
Guardians
one?
of the Galaxy.
D&D movie.
He's not a shitty significant other. Isn't the whole point that he
was
great?
good, and she was the problematic
He
one.
replaced her with a woman that looks pretty much exactly like her.
So he has a type. Wow, why he just kills himself?
Guys aren't allowed to have types anymore.
Whatever.
Big muscly women. Not
Bradley Cooper in
allowed,
the
guys.
D&D movie
Sorry.
Being
isn't
into
chasing
big
her.
muscly women
This is
a
true and a
crime,
joke that
then
people have
lock me
made.
the fuck up.
Anyway, yeah, Ben in this movie sucks.
I mean, he's not in the movie.
The
so-
couples fight all the time thing. But it is an interesting way to show that she's already dealt with shitty guys before, and she is well equipped to deal with shitty guys again. Noah says, what a fucking logo design for the title. The poster and logo design and title design on this movie are so good.
They go hard.
I love them. The Cellar, obviously a better name, but 10 Cloverfield Lane, not bad.
Also, it's not a cellar; it's a bunker.
Yeah,
It is a
it's
bunker.
not-
And I watched a movie called The Bunker, and it was bad.
I'm pretty sure there's
So-
other movies
Okay.
called The Cellar. I feel like that's not a great title for this movie either, but
10 Cloverfield Lane doesn't tell you shit about what
No,
it's
it
about, which I
doesn't.
think is good. I think it's good because, like Brian Tallarico said, I think going into this movie with as little
you
expectations as
gotta
possible
not
is
know
great.
anything.
I had never seen Cloverfield when I saw this. I did not know what Cloverfield was about. I didn't know there'd be aliens. There was a 50-year-old woman in the audience with us who hated the aliens so much. She was so loud about it as she left, and I appreciate her.
A few
for
years
that.
later, she was an absolute menace when A Quiet Place came out.
I'm sure she was. At least The Quiet Place was kind of upfront with it. Noah says, I really love the design of the bunker. This place rocks so much. It's a great bunker. The design of the bunker is so reflective of other John is stuck in the Howard is stuck in the past shit.
The living room.
He watches the living
design
room,
of
the
it.
jukebox, the music he chooses to play, the movies he chooses to watch.
Yeah.
It's just so cohesive. I would love if I had to live in a bunker. I'd love to live in that bunker.
This one seems
I do
an
kind
awful
of-
lot better than the fucking like coal mine in Day of the Dead for sure.
I do fall in love with it over time. It is a location that, like, you know where everything is. In the parts where things seem to be going well, and it seems that Howard just has PTSD, is telling the truth about the world ending, and is just a little possessive and overbearing, but potentially not as evil as he came off initially, because there is a period of time where that's the vibe. In that period of time, it's almost charming.
Yeah. That's something that
Yeah.
like I have been forgetting constantly to emphasize here. The way that the movie keeps its tension by constantly having you asking slightly different questions about the situation and about him. So it's like, okay, so he's obviously evil. Oh, okay, so is he not evil? He's just less evil. Okay, he's fully evil, but he's telling the truth about a bunch of things. No, he's lying about a whole bunch of things, and also he's fully evil. Except it turns out the aliens are real, so he was telling the truth about a bunch of things. But also, like, there are just constantly new revelations happening.
And the clues to all of it were always there. On a rewatch, you know,
You see it.
yeah,
And
you
yet,
see all
the
of it.
tension of the moment still holds.
It's an airtight fucking
Yeah.
script. It really, really is. Yeah. Noah says, the lady at the door is so upsetting because it looks like it proves Howard fully right. It does prove Howard fully right. He is right. That is something that I love about, again, I love about this movie, is that, like, people do want in. Emmett was telling the truth. This woman is desperate to get in. He tells the truth about who she was because he's
Doesn't
right.
matter. Yeah.
And the fucking summary on Wikipedia, I changed some of the wording, said that there was no radiation, and I changed it to say that there is no radiation anymore. There had to have been radiation initially. There had to have been some sort of fallout. Her face looking like
that's
that.
radiation.
I
burns.
thought that was the result of the green gas stuff that the aliens were dumping
Yeah.
everywhere.
There was something that was in the air that does necessitate the care and ventilation that Howard is taking. That much is like apparent. Anyway, Noah says, he's doing a lot of work to make the accident seem accidental with his, I was frantic, I was driving like a madman, not intentional. I think something that the summary is super neglected to mention is that he saw her filling up her tank at a gas station.
Mm-hmm.
And he followed her and ran her off the road.
Yeah.
And potentially, here's something that I've been thinking about. he might not have even fully known the attack was happening yet, and it might, I think, okay, so no, I actually lied. So the timeline of events seems to be, he realizes the attack is happening, he starts heading, he sees her, he's like, I have to just grab whatever woman who is close to the age of my daughter I can get my hands on. He gets back. He's so worried about making sure that he seals up and keeps her safe that he neglects to fully be able to keep Emmett out. And by the time that, because I think that if it had not been for her, Emmett would not have made it in.
Yeah.
I think he was so preoccupied with like making sure that he had time to situate her, to make sure she was okay from the crash and everything. He was like, fine, just fucking come in. I have more important things to deal with. Yeah. So Noah says, I really like how we've got a solid run of Howard being kind and normal again. Just a few days or weeks or whatever, but still enough for everyone to assume it's all cool. So just like we were saying, that period of time where things are a little awkward, but mostly okay, to the point where when he's like, the ventilation is out and I need you to climb through the vents, there's little to no hesitation. She listens to and trusts his information and his advice and does exactly what he says, and then discovers, oh fuck, someone else was trapped in here. She's even like, there's like that hopeful music playing as she climbs up to the skylight. It's not like she wants to escape anymore. She's not climbing up there to be like, what if I can get out of here? She does notice the padlock, but it doesn't feel like she notices it in a, oh fuck, I can't get out this way either.
No, she's
just like, of course.
Looking at the sky to see if she can see the thing that they just heard fly overhead, right?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
just curiosity more than anything else.
Also, I have this written down later, but I'm going to say it now. I love that knowing the alien twist, you can tell that that's supposed to be a UFO every time it passes over. Not knowing the alien twist, you're like, yeah, it's kind of a weird sounding helicopter. I guess it's because they're underground.
I love how Howard makes the rather bold sounding claim that if it's a helicopter, it's not American, and everyone kind of questions him on it. But honestly, like I would
real.
not. Yeah, I wouldn't question that at all, because like I know I use this anecdote as a joke all the time, but like while I was sandblasting, I could tell the difference between different brands of crushed glass by the smell. I 100% believe that you can tell the make of a chopper by the sound. I especially believe that a guy who spent however long he did in the Navy would know the sound of an American helicopter versus any other.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What else does Noah say here? Ooh, this is good. Noah says the industrial lighting in here is really great. Her room has some nice little spots of warm light, but a lot of this place has some ice cold lighting that makes the whole thing look truly miserable. Her room is halfway painted pink. And the rest is bare cinder block. That's all.
Yeah. She gets a lamp later.
She does get a lamp.
She does. She starts moving some of his daughter's decorations in because she is warming up to him and she is accepting these gifts.
That's also how we know for sure it was more than just a couple days. Walter would never have let them chop up these magazines to stick on the wall if they weren't like for sure there for a long enough time that he's like, well, we got to do something.
Yeah.
Or the fact that Emmett says, are you watching 16 Candles again? Yeah. Like, there's just so many little clues in there that they have been in there for a while.
But it's also done in a little bit of like a 28 Days Later kind of way, where it's like, well, yeah, we're getting that it's enough time that they're developing this kind of relationship with one another and all, but it's still very, like, imprecise. It's that long, but it's not, like, that long,
I also love the tension of, speaking of their relationship, the tension of the moment where Emmett gives the little dissertation on why we should get rid of the shower curtain, which he's nowhere near as good of a speaker as Michelle is, but I think it did have to come from him. And I think that it was compelling, but it's so awkwardly delivered the whole time. I'm like, he has got to know that something's up. But then he just immediately, he delivers it so well to his paranoia that he's like, oh shit, contamination. You're so right, Emmett. You know?
Like the execution is lacking, but the lie itself is sound enough.
Yeah. Exactly. Anyway, Noah says, I love Howard just growling at her like a feral animal. He literally sounds nothing like he did just a little bit ago. He's locked in on the aggression angle. And it's like one of those things where it's like, I love that we get proof that he has been capable of and willing to hurt her this whole time.
Yeah.
The thing that she has been afraid of was real. And we get a hint of that when he kills Emmett, and then when he does finally just lose it. Noah says, this is a truly excellent single location horror situation. There's a couple other rooms within, sure, but this is crazy good with an incredibly limited area to work within. Again, there's like 4 rooms, 5 maybe, and you know what all of them look like.
Bedroom, family room, hallway, John Goodman's room.
Storage.
There's that
Storage
room,
That's
where
hallway.
Emmett lives.
Hallway.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Noah says, gotta watch Cloverfield and Cloverfield Paradox sometime. I heard the latter was really bad, but it might give a cleaner connection between the first two. I don't know. I'm into it. From what I understand, it's anthology and it has
I was
no
about
connection.
to say, I looked into it. I did look into this. Cloverfield Paradox is only truly connected to Cloverfield. 10 Cloverfield Lane is connected in the sense of this is a thing happening at the same time as somewhere else. And it is in the same world.
There's also multiple, or at least one direct reference to 10 Cloverfield Lane. There's a character who is getting interviewed about something at one point who has the same surname as Howard from this movie. And the person, and he's talking about conspiracy theories. He describes the Cloverfield paradox. And the person who is interviewing him is the woman who dies outside the bunker in 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Because it's all
connected.
It's all about paradox and
Cloververse.
alternate realities.
And it's like, here's the frustrating thing. After watching VHS Beyond, and like watching a lot of the VHS movies, where a lot of the thought process is like this overarching connective narrative, I feel like a Cloverfield, especially when you think of paradox and aliens and stuff, this idea that you kind of use similar actors or you tie one or two actors in. So there's this question of, are we watching the same destined to happen kind of situation happening across realities? That's a really interesting anthology. Unfortunately, Cloverfield Paradox bad.
Many people are saying this.
It was not good.
But yeah, Noah says, God, it's truly the worst knowing that like Howard was right about everything or anything. He really was dialed in on the Martian attack for no valid reason at all. I love the idea that conspiracy theorists can completely stumble across the right answer.
I mean, when you believe enough stupid, wrong shit, it's the stopped clock is right twice a day argument.
Literally.
Absolutely.
He just needs to believe enough things. Eventually, one has to be true.
I wish he would have mentioned flat Earth
that would've
or
rocked.
something at one point.
Nice try, Emma. He was on a boat. He would have seen the edge.
That's so real, actually.
What are you talking about? He was in the Navy. He's under an NDA. God, he can't talk about the edge.
I have to talk about a specific, to just really quick before we wrap. I just remembered something. When I was in 8th grade, I had a teacher, a U.S. history teacher, who was an ex-Navy radar, watcher. It was his job to stare at the radar and make sure, like, if a blip came up, to be the first one to pick up on it. And he was talking about how much coffee he drank, then his heart, that he was legally dead because he drank too much fucking coffee. And he drank several pots a day.
Did he not just have kidney problems first?
No, he had a cardiac arrest. Yeah. Because of the caffeine. And I had forgotten about him until just now, and Noah mentioned the whole, he would have seen the edge thing. He was functionally pretty much literally exactly Howard. A lot of his teaching was this very awkward. A lot of his classroom management was very frustrated and barely holding on to control, to the point where when we were a problem class, he did lose control of us and he would just ignore us. This is the class where people would climb out of we were in the portables. People would climb out of the window and then come around the front and come in through the front door. And it got to the point where people would do that and he'd be like, "Where have you been?" And they're like, "We went to the bathroom, tee hee hee." And he'd be like, "Have a seat." And they would do that throughout the class period as he was teaching. And he would just repeat it ad nauseum. It was maddening. So yeah, anyway, I'd forgotten about that, but that was, that's Howard.
Wow.
Howard is an 8th grade American history teacher.
Classic Howard.
Classic Howard. Anyway, that's 10 Cloverfield Lane. If you want a really uncomfortable, tense horror thriller,
It's a good one.
this is a really good one.
Yeah.
Next time we're
Really love
going
it.
with a kind of, well, I won't say that. I don't want to spoil nothing. We're watching Audition next.
We're watching some Takashi Miike
Hell
shit,
yeah,
man.
hell yeah.
I'm
We're
so
watching
excited.
the Takashi Miike. So
I've heard a lot of things about Audition, but I've never seen
I
it. So I'm excited.
Did not like it when I first watched it. I think I will like it this time.
I didn't like it the first time either, but I think it's because it was built up too much
I
in
think
my
it was
head.
severely
so that's what I'm
overhyped.
going to say now, Emma. Lower those expectations by about 8 points.
Yeah, this
And
movie
I think that you're going to
sucks.
enjoy the movie more, knowing that it's whatever you have heard about how psycho fucked up this movie is oh my god, one of the craziest movies I've ever seen.
Nah.
Pump the brakes. This is the classic, this movie gave 3 people heart attacks and Netflix is airing it this Tuesday kind of marketing.
Yeah.
Don't fall for it, and you will enjoy this movie
It's
much more.
really good, but it is
Okay.
not the scariest, most fucked up movie you've ever seen.
I will do my best.
Because that definitely ruined it
The
for me.
beginning is literally an episode of Friends.
Why would you say let's
love
let
that.
people go in blind?
Is there a laugh track?
No.
Nina won't let me say. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have
Anyway.
said that. Not the Nina won't let me say, the other part.
What? Anyway, the point being, yeah, we're watching Audition next time, and until then, you can find us on damn, we have a website now.
A website
You can
now.
find us there. I have a couple. I say this every time. I've just been really busy. I haven't been writing for fun or for profit, but I do have ideas that I'm excited to publish eventually.
Nina, Prophet's been published.
But
He did a very slow dab as not to hit me in the head there, which I both appreciate and thought was funny. Yeah, other than that, you can find us on, are we on Blue Sky?
We're gonna be on Blue
We're
Sky.
going to be on Blue Sky.
We are migrating to Blue Sky.
individually, I don't know about Jade, but the rest of us are on Blue
Yeah.
Sky.
I have it.
Yeah, we're gonna get the podcast is gonna be on Blue Sky.
I am officially more active on Blue Sky than Twitter.
Me too. I had a post that popped off. 20 likes. Let's go.
That's more than
Let's
most of your
go.
tweets have ever got.
Yes, thank you.
I deleted my Twitter accounts
Nice.
last
I
night.
really want to.
Do it.
I'm moving
Do
towards
it.
doing it.
Do it.
I don't want to lose everything I've put on
Let
Twitter.
the hate flow through you.
Now, here's the thing.
I
have
already
put
took
too much
screenshots
myself
of all
into
of
it.
my funny tweets about my dad and all of my funny tweets about my books. I've already taken screenshots and posted them as screenshots to Tumblr. So
If I ever remember any of my best tweets, I'm just gonna post them on Tumblr like they're new.
Yeah.
I think one of my most popular tweets was I tweeted, imagine what the Austin Bridge would be like at sunset if the bat's wings sounded like when you shake corrugated plastic. And apparently Twitter thought that was very good.
I appreciated the sound effect, Nina, because I didn't know what that plastic sounded like until you did that.
Yeah. Anyway,
Bubba the Bad, BUBBADABAD on Blue Sky and Letterboxd. I'm also going to be writing for the website soon. I'm going to write something for something. I got the itch.
The itch.
I want to
Nice.
write so bad. I'm so
I'm
tired.
Noah, by the way. Noah. Noah.
Yeah. You can find me on Twitter and not Twitter, on Blue Sky and Tumblr and Letterboxd and Instagram at Nina Wolverina. I post art. I wrote books. I'm writing a book again. I'm finally writing books again. So follow me for updates on that stuff.
Nice.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
am Jade. You can find me on Tumblr at What Is It You Pray For and on Letterboxd at The Fakest Fan. I am going to write something for the website eventually, but I have a difficult time articulating complex thoughts and or feelings.
Yeah.
Love it. And I'm Emma. You can find me on Blue Sky at Jellyfwitch, I guess.
yeah.
That's my main account. I'm not making an Emma Panada account.
End of an era.
End of
I'm
an
just
era.
gonna stick with the VTuber and All the Witches. So yeah, if you
Yeah.
wanna see my more personal stuff, you can go to Jellyfwitch. And I'm also streaming at Jellyfwitch my art journey. Election depression has slowed me down a little bit, but I'm gonna be picking up again
Fair.
soon and being consistent again. But yeah, cool. Thanks so much, though, everybody. We really appreciate you hanging out with us. We hope you have a great rest of your weeks, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Well, I really missed this last time.
Yeah.